Today's guest is infamous on social media for asking a simple yet captivating question.
What do you do for a living?
A concept that has captured the curiosity of billions and built him a business worth millions. Can you tell us what's been your biggest brand deal?
For one video.
That's insane. Whether it's asking Mr. Beast about his luxury yacht,
Your yacht is awesome. What do you do for a living?
or revealing the secrets of the ultra rich,
Cougar hunter and a motivational speaker.
he keeps his audience hooked and always wanting more. The FBI called you about a billionaire on Syria's most wanted list.
Yeah, that one was, I can dive into that one.
Daniel Mack, welcome to the Jack Neel Podcast.
Thanks for having me.
So we have to know, what do you do for a living?
Well, that is quite the question of the century. But essentially, I ask people that question. So that's what I do for a living, is asking people what they do for a living, which is very strange if you think about it. But
It's a weird profession.
it's very
To
strange.
ask
Yeah.
people their profession.
I'm saying, I was trying to explain it to I have a 100-year-old grandpa, and he's like, what do you do?
100-year-old?
Yeah, he's 100. And
Wow.
I'm like, what? He's like, what do you do? I'm like, I ask people what they do for a living, and that's what I do. And he's like, what the hell are you talking about? It is very futuresque.
What did he do?
What did he do? He's a cardiologist. So,
Cardiologist?
so he's like, yeah, you're not, get a real job, kiddo.
That's
Yeah.
funny. Yeah, so walk us through, I know about a lot of your story, but just so the audience can catch up to date, what was your first video like? And did you expect it to kind of go viral?
Yeah, back in the day, when was this? This was 2020 in Dallas. So I just moved there. I graduated college in finance, and I go out there to just like work a regular 9 to 5. And then within the first week of moving there, I saw all these like Ferraris for the first time ever. I'd never like really seen nice cars, 'cause I grew up in Tucson, Arizona. So there's no like Ferraris or Lamborghinis on the street. So I see like a Audi, I see a Ferrari for the first couple times of my life, basically, aside from like here and there. And I was like, okay, well, I wonder what these people do. Like, how do they afford these cars? So I had 0 followers on TikTok, and I just saw an Audi R8 in like a parking lot of like this really like luxury kind of like place.
Yeah.
Walked up to this guy with my friend driving, and I was like, "Hey man, what do you do for a living?" This guy's like, "Oh, I have 5 companies," and kind of like lists out some stuff. And it's funny because if you look back, like the style of footage and editing was all very like choppy. I'd never done it before.
Yeah.
And then right after that, we see a guy in a Ferrari pull by, same lot. I asked him, he says he's like a doctor. And then what really made the clip go viral was the third guy we saw was this white Huracan, which back then, now in LA, like Huracans are obviously, you know, a dime a dozen. Like they're like the Toyota of like LA. But over there, I was like, holy shit, oh my God. So we chased this guy through like 5 different blocks. My friend is driving and he's like, we're mobbing through like red lights. Like I was like, get it. And we drive up right next to this guy with his window down, and I go, what do you do for a living? And he says, I sell drugs. And like, he seemed serious.
Yeah.
He probably wasn't. But then I post that video the next day. I just put it together like very casually, kind of in a format similar to what I do now, but a lot more shoddy. And I remember it was just like, I post it, it gets like 10 views in like the first like 20 minutes. And I was like, whoa, 10 views. And then it like starts doubling, and then it has like 1,000 views. And I'm like, I have a roommate, and I'm like, dude, this thing has like 1,000 views. And then it goes up to like 10,000, 1 million, like in the same day, like, and then it ends up getting like 20 or 30 million views. And then within a week, I had 1 million followers, which is just insane.
A week.
Yeah, it was like 5 days.
Wow.
In like 3 videos, I got 1 million followers, which is just absurd. I got like 20 million views on the first one, 30 million on the second, and then like 40 or something million views on my third video.
And you never posted to TikTok before?
No, it was my first video.
Had you ever
ever.
posted to social media? Like, did you do YouTube when you were younger?
No. Oh, when I was, actually, that's true. Yeah, my first couple videos I posted on YouTube, I did like prank videos. But I was like 10. I was kind of like at like the front of the, if I had production back then, maybe I could have been a YouTube prankster. But we did like Falling in Public, which is a series that J2 Studios, they're still kind of a JSTU, and Sleeping in Public. So I'd be like, but I was like 11, so no one took me seriously.
They're probably pretty weird too. I look back at old YouTube videos when I was 10. I was like, what was I on, bro?
Yeah,
Like, it's very strange.
Very weird, yeah. So it was just absurd. I mean, like I was not trying to make the content. Like I didn't even put it on Instagram for like a month or two because I was like embarrassed about it. I didn't want my friends to know like I'm trying to do content for some reason. I just
Were
thought
there Reels at that time?
It was like just at the start of Reels. I don't even think they called it Reels at the time. It was like I was posting 40-second clips and they were like not formatted correctly. And like right then they may have just started beta testing Reels. And they started popping up like crazy too. And I was like, okay. And then shorts were made right around then too. So I was kind of like accidentally on the crux of like the short form like gold rush essentially, but I didn't know what I was getting myself into at the time.
So you graduated U of A,
Yes.
and went on to do finance at Charles Schwab,
Yes,
right?
yes.
You had some jobs before that, but so what were you doing at Schwab, and how long was it before you eventually transitioned into solely social media?
Yeah, so I was doing, I was essentially getting my brokerage licenses to be like a stockbroker and then eventually a financial advisor.
Yeah.
It's like a program that they have where I think there's like 20 people in like a cohort, and essentially like you get your licenses, they like pay for everything, and then once you like graduate from the cohort after like a year and a half, then you're placed in a branch doing advising. So I ended up quitting my job like a week before my first test, which is kind of funny. I kind of am curious what would happen with that, but obviously it doesn't matter now. So I was doing that for about almost a year. But I also was doing content basically within the first week of me starting this job. And that like sucked because I was doing the 9 to 5 while working from home. It was like obviously during COVID. So I was on my phone constantly posting. And then on the weekends, right when work ended, I would fly to LA to go film content, like 5 p.m., like leave, directly go to the airport. And then during the week, I'd be editing and then taking meetings after work because I didn't have an agency either. So I was doing like 5 different jobs at once, basically, and working like 140 hours. Like basically like any like waking moment, I was like either doing some kind of work or doing my 9 to 5, which was a lot. But I didn't want to be that guy that quits a job that basically like my whole life I was like prepped to like do this. Like I was interested in it. I still love finance. It's like basically like what prompted me to ask people what they do for a living. It was like the baseline, because obviously I was into cars, but I was more interested in how people get money, to be honest. Now obviously that's kind of flipped. I'm more into cars and still interested in how people make money. But the finance kind of thing was really interesting. And I thought that's what I was going to be doing for like my whole life. And at some point I got my first Snapchat check. And that's when I was like, oh my God, you can actually make money doing this. And I remember it was like a come to Jesus moment for me. It was like February. Snapchat came to me in January of 2021. So I got lucky because they came to me very, very early. Like I was one of the first people to get a show kind of.
Yeah. And a Snapchat show, for people who don't know, it's like when you swipe over on the explore page, you see like some different clickbait from creators, and then like you see different shows will pop up. Daniel's show here. But basically it's like a 3-minute version, like compilation of TikToks. Some people make content specific to Snapchat, but yeah, how much was that check for?
It was, this was after the cut. So Snapchat takes a 50% cut, as we both know, which, is kind of standard. It was for $26,000, and that was after the cut. So I thought it was a misprint. Like I get the email and I was like, this guy's got to be like some kind of like total amount without like factoring in like cuts and taxes, whatever,
Yeah.
And then I look at it and I like figure it out that it's actually like that's how much I'm getting for 1 month. And it was off of 2 videos. I got one video that got like, now these numbers are crazy, but back then I didn't even realize how big it was. I got 2 or 3 million views on my first episode, and then I got 6 million views on my second episode, which is crazy now. Like now I'm like, if I get a 1 million view episode, I'm like, yes, that's crazy. I don't know how it is for you, but
yeah, I mean, there was a point last year where we were like one of the top Snap shows consistently, and the most we ever saw was 4 million views.
Okay, yeah.
Like I had no idea someone had a 6 million view episode.
Yeah, my best is 12 mil, which is crazy. 12 mil on a JoJo Siwa video, but we can get into that later.
Can you say how much revenue that episode gave you?
So it was 12 million ad impressions, but I think the episode itself got 9 million just baseline views, and I think I made I think it was like 120,000.
You made $120,000 off one Snap
off a 2.5 minute video. It's 2.5 minutes, which was crazy. Now the days are done, but yeah, that first episode went crazy, and it was just off of the poorest editing, the worst thumbnails, and like just piss poor like quality. Like I didn't know how to actually like put it in 1080p. Like I literally just didn't even know how to do that. I had 0 editing skills, and I didn't have anyone working for me. And like, God, if I had my team now back then, it would have been, I'd be driving a Bugatti here.
Yeah.
Literally, probably. But I still did well.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised that it did well. So yeah.
Have you reposted that JoJo Siwa episode?
Yeah, I did. Although it didn't hit as well. I've reposted all the bangers. I've learned, but
yeah,
I kind of was slow to doing that too. I should have. Back then, I was like, oh, reposting is bad. Now I'm like,
but this is after you quit your job at Schwab, right?
Yeah. So I started all this in August, and I quit my job at Schwab in May or June, I think.
And that was about right after you got the first $24,000 check?
Yeah, I waited because there's a 2-month, net 60. You have to wait 2 months to get your money. And I waited to actually see it hit my account because I actually just did not believe that it was real. Like, I was like, this is like some kind of a misprint. And I talked to my rep and I was like, is this legit? And she's like, yeah, like you should be. But they obviously legally can't tell you it's going to be exactly what you see because it's obviously even they say on the stubs that it might not be legit. So she goes, oh, it'll be roughly around the same amount. And I was like, really? And then I quit my job a couple months later. I was like, this is stupid. Why am I?
And how much were you making at Schwab at the time?
I was
About
making
50,000, something.
Yeah,
like that?
50K, 45 before like bonuses and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
Wow.
and within 2 months I made my annual salary. So I was like, okay, this is like, okay, I could make this all fail and I'd still have a year cushion.
So what exactly? I know that you went viral from your first video on TikTok, but how do you transition from like finance to content creation? Like, what in your head knew that was a big opportunity to capitulate on, and you're like, this, like, I have a good thing here. Like, were you looking for money from it? Did you know there was money in social media?
Yeah, I think after that I knew, but for the first almost 2 years, I thought this was just going to be like a fluke, quick thing that basically dies out, and then I'm out of a job basically.
Did you want to be famous? Like, did you like the
No.
recognition from it?
No, I mean, obviously it was nice. Like in Dallas, it's obviously like a smaller city. So like I'd walk around and some people would walk up to me, which was kind of cool at the time. Like, but I definitely, for the first year on Instagram, I didn't, like for the first year in general, I never really even showed my face. I like I was like shy. And for some reason, like I said earlier, I was still kind of like, okay, this is embarrassing for some reason. Like I don't want my friends to know that I'm like making content, which is stupid.
No, it's how I was too. I made
Yeah.
a second Instagram account.
Yeah.
And I had like a few million on TikTok, with a second Instagram account.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
how embarrassed
Yeah,
I was at the time.
I didn't on Instagram. I waited several months to post any video, and I was still like, "Oh, this is weird," because I knew people that knew me were probably like, "This is like, why is he doing this? This is weird." Which is, yeah, obviously, who cares? But you still have to break into that shell of like not caring what people think. And like, do you develop like that tough skin? Like I remember at the beginning, people would say like, "This video sucks," and like it's easy to be like, "Oh, I don't care," but obviously.
I mean, dude, I feel like you had it a little easier than me. Like, you're
Yeah.
viral from the get-go. Like, I was doing this in high school at a Catholic school with like every boy in my class played football, right?
Okay, yeah. I went to
so,
Christian
like,
school too, so I know how it is
Yeah,
in small.
yeah,
Was it
yeah.
a small school?
Yeah, like 200 people.
Yeah,
something
same.
like that.
200 people. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Everyone knows each other's shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should-
So I'm doing these videos and I'm not getting any followers. Like, it took me like a few months to get 10K.
Oh,
And it took
wow.
me a few more months to get 100K. And then I went from like 100K to like 600K within the course of a few days. And that's when people started to like chill a little bit on me. You know?
yeah.
And then we went into COVID right after. So
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
have to talk to anyone. And I was like, shit, I'm just going to grind this out. But
Wow. Yeah. I wouldn't have been able to do it. Like,
Yeah.
I got lucky that it was like all immediate because I wouldn't have like stuck with it at all. Like I would have done one video and been like, if my first video didn't get, if it got like 100 views, my first one on TikTok and didn't get 1 million, I would have just been like, that was funny and not done it. So like,
very ironic that TikTok like knows that psychology and makes everyone's first video like particularly viral.
yeah,
You know what I'm
actually,
saying?
it is interesting because there actually was one video I did that was first, and it was me parodying.
Doing a parody of something?
of some like TikTok like clout people, but it was like me sitting on the toilet with a gallon of milk. But I can't
I
show
wanna
it to
see
you
that
because
video.
it got
It
right
got
when my
banned?
first one popped off. That's when because I was under the radar.
Yeah.
And then when I posted that first one, that one got taken down.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So actually, yes, that was my first one was me on the toilet with milk, which is weird as the first video to ever
the
post.
true first video. That's funny.
Yeah. So yeah, I wouldn't have stuck with it. So,
Huh.
which is crazy because it's interesting because the first video probably was shown to 3 people, 4 people, and 2 of them liked it, and then it snowballed to 8, and then 2 of them, or whatever. You know how it goes on TikTok. For your first video, you probably only get it shown to like a test audience of like 5 people, right?
Something like that.
Probably
Yeah.
like 1 or 2 of them like it, then they go, okay.
I wonder if there's like some bot testing now, but that's a whole conspiracy, Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure they have something like that.
Probably. Yeah.
But so Daniel, you've done some pretty amazing collaborations with President Biden, Paris Hilton, Shaq, but you've also unintentionally been involved in a little bit of controversy. A notable one, I think, was your TikTok got an Apple executive fired.
Yes. Yeah, that one was I can dive into that one. There's actually like a part 2 to this one, which is kind of interesting.
I'm excited to hear this. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was at Monterey Car Week, which is like the big car mecca of the car scene. It's like worldwide, bigger than the Geneva Auto Show. It's like where car automakers come to unveil their like newest products. So, like Lamborghini will unveil their new car there.
Yeah.
It's in like California, kind of in between San Francisco and LA. And it's like a week-long event, basically. Like people show up, like celebrities go. It's really cool. But this was my first year going. And I got a tip from a birdie that if you show up to the event, the Quail, it's like the really fancy kind of event. That's $2,000 tickets plus.
A tip from a birdie?
Yeah, just someone told me, like,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
if you show up to the car lot, like the VIP lot in the morning, there's gonna be like some crazy cars that roll in.
Gotcha.
And fancy people, like famous people, whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, I show up at 7 a.m. With my boy Blake, who used to work with me. And we roll up there and we see a guy just in the general lot as we're walking to the VIP lot in a Mercedes McLaren SLR. And I'm like, holy shit, this is a crazy car. $700,000 car. So I see this guy in a UK full suit. Like he's like wearing like the UK flag, but it's in like a full bodysuit. It's like, okay, this guy's funny. So I ask him what he does for a living. He's super funny, honestly. This guy's what's his name? I should know.
I should know as well.
Tim? No,
It's not Tim Cook.
not Tim Cook. Tim Cook knows who I am though, which
Yeah,
is
yeah.
kind of fucked. But basically, Tony Blevins. And okay, what do you do for a living? He goes, I fondle big-breasted women, and on the weekends I take like major holidays off and I go golfing. And he's quoting a movie, Arthur from the 80s.
Yeah.
It's like a spy movie or something.
Yeah.
And his wife's next to him laughing about it because he's quoting the movie. He's obviously not being like, he's being funny. And it's 8 a.m. on a golf course and he's at Monterey Car Week.
Did you know that at the time that he was quoting that movie?
No. I just thought he was being funny. Like I
Yeah.
just thought it could just, So I was like, that's funny. His wife's laughing. It's obviously he's, talking about his wife, but it's funny. Like, and she thought it was funny too. And they've been married for probably like 20 years. So who cares? And then I post this video. I'm in India for a Facebook event. And I wake up to like 400 texts on my phone. And I open up my stock app, which I do right when I wake up, the first thing ever. And the top headline, not just on Apple, but on the whole market, is ex-CEO or ex-VIP at Apple fired for lewd comments. So
This was the VP of
the
Apple?
VP, he was like a VP exec. So like he's in the top 10 of Apple, basically. Like directly reports to Tim Cook. Big
Fired for
dog.
lewd comments.
Yeah,
Wow.
TikTok VIP of Apple, like VIP exec, fired over lewd TikTok comments.
Gotcha.
And I was like, holy fuck. So I have so many emails in my thing, like from Bloomberg, from all these. And actually it's funny because 2 weeks prior, Bloomberg emailed me and they said, hey, we want to run over and ask you about an interview you did. And I just kind of brushed it off because I was traveling. So I was like, okay, I'll get to this later. And then Bloomberg broke it. And then all the financial news, Wall Street Journal, everyone is covering this event. Like New York Stock Exchange is emailing me. And then, he got fired. Tim Cook directly fired him. So basically what happened was the women that were in the company, he probably had some other stuff prior. Like it's not like this was like the one thing that broke the camel's back. But basically these women made a petition within Apple to get him fired. They all signed it. And then Tim Cook directly fired him because of the video. And they said this was like the final straw, essentially.
And this happened in 24 hours from posting the video? Or what
No,
was the
this was like a
timeline?
month later.
So this is a month later. Okay.
A month later, someone picks it up. I think there was like some internal dialogue at Apple. And then
And how many views did that video get?
it only got like 1 million views. So like it didn't go
That's
crazy.
crazy.
It didn't go crazy viral, but someone was watching it. And then there's all these then someone started a conspiracy that he killed himself. So then I go on my TikTok and there's all these people that are emailing me saying I have like blood on my hands. And some guy's like, oh, he hanged himself. Some random person just decided like, oh, we're going to make up a conspiracy about him killing himself because he got fired. And then I had to deal with that, which is weird. But basically, like, in my opinion, it sucks that he got fired because I thought it was funny. And I think everyone thought it was funny. Like I didn't have anyone in my comments saying, this is awful for women. But
That kind of sucks for your like videos, like your big picture brand.
Yeah.
Because it like the people you're going to be speaking with are going to be high profile individuals.
Yeah.
And it's like, damn, I can't say anything like
Yeah.
interesting anymore.
so that's why I didn't take any interviews. I didn't
like
do
Elon
any.
Musk can't, well, I mean, he can say whatever he wants, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know, someone can't say I sell drugs
Yeah.
anymore because they're
People
at
got
fear
afraid.
of, yeah.
I mean, for sure. I had posted one video my next year on my way up from Monterey. Or no, it was actually that year. I filmed a video of a crazy collection. And I guess I can't say who it was, but I filmed the video. And after I filmed it and posted it, the next day he said, hey, like, because of this Tony Blevins situation. I need you to take this video down. I don't want. And he wasn't even in the video. It's just his collection. So I'm sure there's been some like rich people in that circle that don't want to film with me because they're afraid of what might happen. So that kind of sucks. But also,
what's the part 2 to this story?
so the next year I'm at Monterey. I meet up with this guy's. I'm at his table talking to someone, and this guy is listening to my conversation. Some guy's like, "Hey, I love your videos. Like, you're the what do you do for a living guy?" And the guy sitting next to me at the table goes, "Oh, you got my best friend fired." And I was like, "Oh." And he's like, "Yeah, Tony Blevins, that's my friend. You got him fired." And I was like, "Well, with due respect, he fired himself." I didn't put the words in his mouth. He saw it wasn't a hidden camera. He knew I was filming. I wouldn't say that if I was a VP, a head exec at Apple. Is it stupid that cancel culture exists and like this is a thing? Sure, but I didn't do it to him. It sucks, but I didn't do it to him. So then me and him kind of have a back and forth about this. And he's like, "Well, you shouldn't be doing this." And I'm like, "Hey man, my camera wasn't," it's kind of like a friendly banter, which is kind of interesting. And by the end of it, he's like, "All right, yes, you seem like a nice guy. I have a car event in Florida you could go to if you want to come. Trump might be at it. It's called the Palm event. This guy's really cool. So Tony doesn't like me, but this guy likes me now. I think he understood by the end of it that I wasn't like kind of farming like reactions. I just genuinely like thought the video was funny. I thought it was funny, and it just sucked that he got fired because of it. So that's kind of the part 2. That's
It's crazy
funny.
that his wife was in the car too.
Yeah.
It's very interesting.
She thought it was funny too. I mean, he's quoting a movie. He literally quoted it if you watch the clip word for word. So I don't know. I'm not on the camp of him being like misogynistic with it because he's quoting a movie.
Yeah, another thing I was interested about, maybe I'm misquoting this, but the FBI called you about a billionaire on Syria's most wanted list.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Not the exact quote, but basically this
Was it the FBI?
It wasn't the FBI that called me.
There's other agencies, perhaps?
No, they basically what happened was I filmed this guy on Rodeo and he's with his wife. And basically this guy is the son of a FBI most wanted criminal from Syria.
From the article, I wanted to ask about this too. It said he was the cousin. Is it the son?
I think it's the son.
Really?
I think it's the son.
Okay, some articles said cousin, but I wanted to
It might
just
be
ask you
cousin.
about that.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
Some like very close relationship. But basically like the title of the article was son or cousin of FBI's most wanted Syrian warlord spotted on Rodeo with Israeli girlfriend.
Yeah.
And in Israel or in
Apparently
Syria,
she was a famous Israeli model
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. and that's a no-no. The mixing, is obviously like someone from Islamic person with an Israeli person, like he could get in trouble. Apparently she could get in trouble. And they were super weird. So I filmed the video. This guy's just acting weird. He's like, "I'm a student." And he's like 35. He's driving a Ferrari. I'm like, "You're a student? How do you have a Ferrari?" And he's like, acting really like suspicious, acting weird. I was like, okay, this is like a interesting video. Like, we'll see what people have to say about this. And then I wake up again to a million press articles from like Saudi Arabian publications. I forget one of them is like something with a J.
Al Jazeera.
Yes. Yeah. They wanted an interview with me, and I was like, "Fuck no, I'm not doing an interview.
Yeah.
I don't want to get like killed by Syrian warlord, man." And I've had people in Miami walk up to me, random people going, I'm the brother of this guy. I'm the whatever." Like people like know about this video, and it kind of sketches me out a little bit. But like once again, I didn't really understand that this was a big thing. So yeah, that was interesting, and I don't know if anything.
So no federal agencies contacted
No one ever
you?
contacted me.
Okay,
no.
it was just press articles and stuff?
Yeah, because he didn't do anything wrong. Like he's just in America, but the fact that he was with an Israeli girlfriend caused a lot of problems
That was the
for
issue.
him. Because
Okay.
that's like it's like a lovers that couldn't be kind of situation for both their countries.
Yeah, so do you, like, I saw in one of your interviews that you thought that video had been taken down, maybe. But I see it still up on your page.
Yeah.
Are you a little like worried about having that out there still, or?
No, I don't think so.
Whatever.
I think, I'm not too worried about it. Maybe I should be worried about it. I don't know.
I don't know. I run a crime podcast, so I'm a pretty paranoid person. But
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's fine. I think.
hey, maybe you got him some publicity. Maybe,
Yeah.
Maybe they'll.
I mean, he didn't do anything wrong, so yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Now you got me thinking. I'm like, well, I don't know. Maybe I should take it down.
Well, I get this kind of leads into another question. Have you ever been in danger filming in one of your videos?
Yes. One time I got attacked at a car show. I was at a very like normal Cars and Coffee event, 8 a.m. Normally you have like just fathers that come out to these, and it's just like a very like classy event. But it was at a local museum around here, and a bunch of people roll in like a convoy, like G-Wagons all blacked out. And I asked some guy what he does for a living, and he says some very normal occupation, like I'm an engineer or something. Right when I cut, some bodyguard from behind me comes and grabs me, this huge guy, like a 300-pound like Samoan guy that was like massive, like grabs me and like picks me up. And I was like, holy shit, in front of like 200 people at this morning Cars and Coffee, family-friendly event. And he's like, delete the video. And I was like, what the fuck? Get off of me. Like, what the fuck? And he grabs my phone out of my hand, and I'm like shoving him, and he's like shoving me, and he's obviously huge. And he's like, delete the video. And I'm like, get the fuck off. Like, get the fuck off. And then he gets into my phone, and this is before Apple makes you do a Face ID to do recently deleted. Goes into my recently deleted and deletes that, and then just like shoves me away. And everyone's like, holy shit, like no one helped me. And I was like, okay, it all happened really quickly. I was like, Jesus.
Was Blake there?
Yeah, but he was off getting like coffee or something.
Got you. For reference, Blake is like how tall?
6'6".
He's like a 6'6",
Yeah.
like
If he was next to me,
230-pound guy. Like
yeah.
he probably would have fought this.
I mean,
dude,
I was like trying to like scrap this guy too. Obviously, I wouldn't have
Yeah,
won,
yeah.
but like I was like, this is embarrassing for me, and also like, what the fuck? Get off of me, random stranger. And then yeah, basically, I have a cop friend that watched it, and he's like, "Do you want me to arrest this guy?" And I was like, "No, like it's fucking like I don't know, I don't want any like this group seemed sus. They seemed like they were like gang related. They all rolled in like a group of 10. I don't know what they were doing at this car event. But yeah, that's what happened. And I'm surprised that I haven't been like attacked ever other than that. But the fact that it was at a Cars and Coffee was really weird.
Well, there was one incident where someone said you were close to getting capped.
Oh yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, this one's crazy. Yeah, I guess I'll fuck this guy. There's a guy out there that posted a video, a random screenshot of me at an event, basically at Monterey Car Week. This is the next year, so another Monterey Car Week incident. So some of these people, I guess, got some egos, but I filmed some guy in a drop top Rolls Royce, and everything seemed fine in the interaction. I have the interaction. This guy's name is Chris Singh. I've never said his name publicly, but I don't fuck him, honestly. Lambronix on Instagram, I think is his name. Lamborghini Onyx or something. He has like 700K followers. And I only say this because he's like, if I were to post a video exposing this guy, he would get clowned. Like he posts a screenshot of me and he says, this kid doesn't understand how close he came to being capped, and posts it on his main account. And I get a million people DMing me going, yo, what happened here? Like, did you bum rush this guy? Like, did you make him feel uncomfortable? Like, did you attack him? And then I DM this guy and I go, I sent him a message being like, yeah, dude, 2 dudes at 9 a.m. with champagne glasses in their hands in suits. Very menacing indeed. And then he's like, he sends me a bunch of stuff being like, you're a fucking idiot. You don't understand how close you came to being killed. Like I carry a Glock on me or something similar. Try it again, buddy. Like see what happens. Like threatening me. Basically, who's going to shoot me if I try it again. And then I just send like a laughing face emoji.
What was the context? How did you approach him? Like what happened?
I have all this on camera.
Yeah.
I was about to post a full video, like, but I feel like it's just, I don't want to stoop myself too low to this guy. But basically like the video is me walking up to this guy. I go, hey man, what do you do for a living? He goes, he's walking around his car, putting something back in his car. And he goes, what does he say? Let me get this right. I think he says something like, okay, yes. So I walk up to this guy. I go, what do you do for a living? He goes, oh, it's a rental. And I go, aha, like, because obviously he's kidding because it doesn't look like a rental. And I go, oh, like something like, oh, is this yours? And he's like, are you filming me? And I was like, oh yeah, is that okay? He goes, no. And I go, oh, sorry about that, man. Sorry to bother you. And my other camera guy, Blake, goes, sorry, man, have a nice day. And then that's it. And it's all on camera. I have this whole I have both angles. So then this guy posts another clip because I go on a podcast talking about this and I don't ever say his name. And he says, he doubles down. He goes, he rushed up to my car in California. You never know somebody's going to attack you. And meanwhile, we're on a golf course at a private event and I'm wearing a media badge. I have a media badge on my thing, wearing a suit.
Yeah.
And he goes, he didn't understand how close he came to being killed. I should have, like, I could have capped him. You're never supposed to rush up on someone like that. And in the footage, I'm literally sitting there and I go, hey man, my hands are visible. Hey man, how's it going? "Oh, so sorry to bother you. Have a nice day." And he goes, "Okay." And that's it. So he, for some reason, has this weird power trip where he thinks he wants to big dick his followers into being like a big tough guy. And really, I have this full video of him being friendly. You can see me. I apologize and I say, "Have a nice day" to him. And that's it. So he's just a fucking idiot. It's crazy. Like I would post this full video, but like I was like, I don't want to like get involved in like drama that is
You
just
never want to
stupid.
give anyone clout. That is,
Because he
perhaps
clearly wants
smaller than
clout.
you. I don't know. Yeah.
And I ran it through my lawyer. I made a whole script. I was like, "Is this script good?" He's like, "Shoot, you're fucking golden. Like this is like he's an idiot." Like, and if I posted this video, this guy would be clowned so hard. He's so lucky that I haven't posted it. So I don't know, but like, feel free to post this. Fuck him. I just don't on my
I
main
can't wait
account.
to see him triple down after
Yeah.
hearing his name.
Because the
said,
thing is, I
especially.
got it all on camera. I have both angles, the full uncut version. So fuck him. Yeah.
Like, what are some other interesting like crime-related incidents that you've been involved with? Anything like that you can think of?
Crime related. There is a really funny story about me walking up to a guy that shouldn't have been filmed, basically. So this is actually, I have two good stories for you. So I used to film at this place called Highland Park Village in Dallas, Texas, and they're kind of like a Beverly Hills wannabe. Like they're very snooty. They think that they're all that. And that's where I filmed my first videos for the first month. Like that's where the only place I knew where to get footage. So it's like a luxury outdoor shopping mall. And I filmed this one guy in a Ferrari. He's in a suit and he has this girl with him. It's like a mistress probably. So I walk up to him. I ask him what he does for a living. It's like a painful video. And I deleted it in front of him because it was really awkward. But I go, "What do you do for a living?" He goes, looks at my camera and goes, "Oh, are you the guy that does those videos?" And I was like, "Yeah, man. What do you do?" Like, haha, like, how's it going? And he was like, "Oh my gosh, dude, can you stop filming me?" And I put my camera down and I'm like, "Yeah, dude, like, what's up?" And he was like, "I'll do anything for you to delete this video. I'll let you take my car. You can take my Ferrari. Please, I'll pay you whatever you want. Just don't post this video." And I was like, "Bro, like, I'll delete it right now. You're good. I don't know what's going on here, but," and he was like, "Thank you, bless you." And I was like, "What the fuck?" So that was a weird incident.
Dude, you were the worst nightmare for a cheating man.
Yes,
in a
yes.
nice car.
I probably
you know?
fucked over a lot of people by accident, which is
It's like
kind
the
of-
one thing I hope I don't see is the fucking "what do you do for a living" kid
Yeah.
walk up to me right now.
Straight up, dude. So yeah, this guy for sure was cheating on his wife. But
Yeah.
I'm a homie. I ain't no snitch. So I didn't. When I know, but
For
when I
cheaters
know.
out there, Daniel likes to film around rodeo.
Yeah,
On what days of the week?
Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah. So maybe don't go to rodeo on those days.
Yeah. So the thing is, if somebody tells me on site, and it just happened yesterday, it happened 2 times yesterday. People will email me sometimes, or they'll on site be like, "Hey, can you not post that?" Or they'll walk up to me. It happens every time I film on rodeo. If I get 15 videos, one person will walk up to me. Always delete the video. If they tell me to go fuck myself while filming on public street in a Ferrari with their windows down, I'm posting the video.
Yeah,
Because I'm
for
like,
sure.
okay, like
I have
you're-
that same philosophy. If someone does something like messed up and then they tell you to like delete it, it's like, well, why'd you do that? You know?
Yeah, I'm like, fuck you. Like, okay, now you're upset that you acted this way on camera, but you were just rude. Like, but if somebody's like, "Hey man, like I just don't want to be filmed while I'm talking to them," I'm like, "Oh, no worries. I'll delete the video, no problem." I'm not like holding the video for ransom. But yeah, if they're super rude, then I'm like, okay, you don't deserve my respect for being rude. But to go off of the Highland Park situation, I have a story about me almost getting arrested. So 2 months.
From one of your TikToks or
Yeah.
while filming?
Yeah, while filming.
Yeah.
So I'm 2 months into filming ever. I have 3 million on TikTok at the time, or 2 million or something around there. I'm at this spot, Highland Park Village, which has now banned me for life, or for 5 years. I'm banned for 5 years from Highland Park Village. And I have 1 year left to my ban. So you better believe I'm coming
You're
back.
coming back.
Yeah, the day of. So I'll be on the lookout for that. Unless they see this and then they decide to further my ban. Although I don't think you can do that. Maybe. But basically, I'm filming on site. I filmed some lady, and she says, like, I'm married for a living. I think it was probably her, but I won't say for sure certain it was her. But someone complained that was in a video.
Yeah.
And I'm on
Is
site.
this one of your OG most viral videos?
Yeah.
I'm married?
She goes,
Yeah, I
I'm
remember
married.
seeing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I assume it was probably her, but it may not have been her. So I won't say it's her, like on the record. But because of how viral this video went, I assume it is her. Someone complained to the management of this snooty place. It's technically private property. It's a private mall. I'm out there filming, doing my thing, and 2 cops roll up to me. And they're like, "Come with me." And I was like, "What?" And one of my friends is visiting in town. I'm trying to just show her what I do. And she was like, what's going on? I'm like, I don't know. Pull me aside in front of like a bunch of people. People are like watching me basically be arrested at this point. They take my mug shot with like an iPad, which is weird. They say, turn to the left, turn to the right. I was like, is this even legal? Highland Park Village has their own police force. So they kind of like, they're like not within the jurisdiction of Dallas. So they can
Same as Beverly Hills, right?
Yeah. It's the same vibe.
Yeah.
They're mini Beverly Hills. And then basically they tell me I'm arrested for trespassing. And I was like, I haven't been trespassed, so I can't be arrested for trespassing. And they go, one of the cops is playing good cop, and he says, I follow you. And he's like, oh, I love your stuff. I was like, this is weird. The other cop's being a huge dick to me. He's like, you should have known better. And I was like, call the management. I haven't been told I can't be here. He calls the management. They eventually come over. They're like, okay, he hasn't been warned. And then he's still being a dick to me, won't give me back my license. Basically, I get banned for 5 years. And he's like, if I see your face out here again, I'm going to arrest you personally. I was like, fuck you, dude. Like, okay. And that's why I got banned from this spot for 5 years. But I'll be back.
Because you think of this woman, perhaps.
Someone complained. So I called them the next day. I go, why the hell are you guys banning me from a property when I'm giving you so much publicity? Because all my videos were getting 30, 40 million views. And the top comment was always, where is this? And I'd comment, Highland Park Village. Because I wanted more people to go. So they were getting a bunch of publicity. But someone in their clientele was uncomfortable being filmed. So then they banned me. So yeah, it's kind of stupid on their part. And now people film there all the time. There's an account that copies me exactly, my format, what do you do for a living? Several million followers now. And they film only in Highland Park Village, which is funny. I think they finally got it that, having people film in your area has people visit it. Rodeo, people come and visit all the time. They go see me. If I'm on Rodeo, they'll take pictures of me and they'll be like, oh, I was looking for you. People go down there to go get spotted. And it also gives it that like luxury appeal. So I think they finally understood it after my time.
It's kind of funny watching you out film in public. I've been around Daniel when he's filming some videos, and like crowds will kind of gather and just like watch like what you do. And, like you kind of see it as almost a Los Angeles attraction now to like come and like see you film your videos. Like how common is it that crowds gather? Is it every time?
On Rodeo, yeah. Like if I'm on Rodeo and I roll up to someone, a lot of people still don't know what my face looks like, even though I've been kind of pushing it a little bit more just for brand recognition. But if I'm standing there, some people will walk up to me. But if I go up to a car, I turn around, there's like 20 people behind me. And like they're like, oh shit. Because like,
do you think it's because they think it's a celebrity, or do you think it's because they know you're the celebrity? Really?
It's both.
Yeah.
My go-to, which I've done so many times, every time it's easier for me to say, oh, that's Shia LaBeouf, which I do every time.
Yeah.
Once they drive away, then me explain that I'm filming random people in public by asking them what they do for a living. So every
it
time
also gets people to like lay off your case a little bit too.
Yeah. Because then they go, what? Oh, you do TikTok and whatever. So every time when somebody goes, oh my God, was that a celebrity? Which happens all the time. I always go, oh yeah, it's Shia LaBeouf. And they go, wow. It works.
So many people must have thought they were around Shia LaBeouf.
I've done it literally 500 times because it's the ultimate like obscure enough to like, oh, Shia LaBeouf. Okay. It's pretty funny, honestly. I think it's funny.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, I've been around some, I don't know, pretty famous TikTokers in my time in LA, but you're definitely one of the people that I've seen get recognized the most in public.
Mm-hmm.
Like we've went out to, I don't know, a bar together, and like it just seemed like swarms of dudes just like knew who you were. And it was actually nice because I got recognized a little bit more out with Daniel because people were like, oh, well, he's a TikToker. Like, are you a TikToker? They're like, wait, I think I know you. I don't know. Just a funny little thing I noticed. But you talked about earlier that you went to a TikTok event in India, or was it an Instagram event?
Instagram. Yeah, Meta.
Instagram.
Yep.
Meta. Okay. So I think you have a pretty big following in India, right?
Yeah.
How was like being there? Like, did you get recognized quite a bit, or was it not as much as you thought? Really?
Oh yeah. Like the Indian people are so passionate.
Yeah.
They are so passionate, and they're my biggest demographic on Instagram and almost
what
YouTube.
percent is it? Do you think?
26%.
Yeah.
And America's like 22%. So like I didn't understand just how passionate Indian people are until I was there, and like they are like the best fans ever. They go nuts for anything Indian related content wise.
But what's it like in India being like recognized on the street and stuff? Like were people like grabbing you and taking pictures like little kids and stuff? Or like what was the vibe? Because I've seen a lot of like celebrities going to India recently. There's like a horrible trend of like blonde famous girls going and like I don't know, baiting for attention and getting grabbed and stuff. It's very interesting.
It's interesting because a lot of the people that are taking pictures with you in public don't even know you as being famous. So, and I asked
it's like tall white guy.
Literally. So I asked because online, like I was at like It's called the it's in Mumbai, but it's the Gate of India. It's called, or it's something called like the Gate of India. It's like a famous landmark. I was standing there and people were queued up, like 20 people in a row, queued up in a line to take a photo with me. And none of them knew my content. They were just lined up to take photos. So I asked one of the local people there, I was like, why is this happening? And they're like, they just take pictures of the white people sometimes and put it on their Instagram. So like flex. And
It's
I
a
was
thing
like,
in
that's weird,
Japan
yeah.
as well. They'll like walk up to you and ask to take a photo because they like want people to like know that they have American friends.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
That's what the
'Cause
guy
it's
was
like
explaining
kind
to
of
me.
cool to have American friends. It's really interesting.
Yeah, the local guy told me that. He's like, it's just like a thing they post. It's like he said it was like them flexing, which is weird. Not like I'm like, oh, I'm white and that's good, but like in India for some reason that's like a thing. Yeah, they want to like I have American friends. It's interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it happened. So I don't know how many of them actually knew my content, but around the event because there were fans there, it was crazy.
Daniel, I wanted to ask you. So you went on Iced Coffee Hour about a year and a half ago, maybe close to 2 years now. And since then, you've done collaborations with all the big car companies, like really big cruise lines, major influencers. Can you tell us what's been your biggest brand deal?
Yeah.
Maybe you don't have to say the name of the company. Maybe you can say the payout. Maybe you can say the name of the company. I don't know.
okay.
However you want to phrase this.
I don't know if I can even say the amount, but I'll give you the number actually.
You'll
I'll
give
give
the
you the
number?
number.
Wow,
It's
okay.
crazy. It's big. I've never publicly said the number.
And this is for one video.
One video on all platforms. So Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. It was a great video, so I ended up posting it everywhere. This is not normal, by the way. Like on normal.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Brands out
it's
there.
very normal. Yes, yes.
This is like baseline.
Yeah. Okay. The exact number was 240,000.
240,000.
Yeah. Which
You
is
got paid $240,000 for a TikTok.
Yes. Which is crazy.
What'd you do in the video, or can you not say?
That would give it away. But basically, it was a really good video, and
I think I know what this is.
they got their
actually.
money's worth though.
Yeah.
The video probably ended up getting 100 million views plus naturally because it was just that good. So that's worth it for them actually. If you think about the
Wait, it got how many views?
100 million
100 million
Yeah,
across all the videos.
everything. So they got their money's worth. I think they knew that it was going to be such a good video. It's one of the more expensive things I've ever filmed, and I'll give you that hint. It's a thing that's super expensive, and yeah, they got their money's worth though. If you think about it from like an ROI perspective on like just pop-up click ads, this is a video that's super intimate. It's very exclusive. You're seeing this product in motion basically, and 100 million views.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, for reference, if you were to like use Spark ads on TikTok to pay for 100 million views, it would cost you $1 million. You know,
Yeah.
so like they're kind of getting like a 5x multiple on that, and they get a cool video.
yeah, because what's the on a good like dedicated video? What is the CPM like or whatever it's called? Like is it like $20-$30 per 1,000 views
On TikTok, or
on a pretty much anything? 10?
oh, for just like a brand deal, you mean?
A very specific targeted.
Oh,
So say you want to advertise
yeah,
to
I would say
20,
about that.
yeah. I think-
Especially in your niche.
Yeah,
I'd say
luxury.
standards more like $5, but
Okay.
like,
But then
definitely
I
in
feel
your
like
niche.
it's so much more powerful having a video that people resonate with and are sharing and watching versus a pop-up ad that you click out of.
Yeah.
So I guess
That
it
makes
depends on the type of video, but yeah, for them I think is a win-win because that's crazy amount of money, $250,000 for one video. And we made it. It was definitely done very well, but it was so good that I posted it on platforms that weren't even in the contract. Like I think it was just a TikTok video and an Instagram, maybe Instagram. It might have just been TikTok. And I put it on YouTube. I put it on Snapchat. I put it on Facebook. So yeah.
Did you give them the rights to use it as like an ad or something?
That'd be a question for my agency.
Oh, yeah,
Probably.
that's true.
Probably. I feel like for that number, we probably did. Yeah.
So I'm guessing this is more of like a brand. I guess I want to ask, and you might not be able to share this either. You've had a lot of celebrities in your video, and if I were a celebrity, I'd probably want to be in a Daniel Mack video as well. Have you had people pay you to be in these videos?
No, we've never done that. Because obviously, like people ask me, like, "Oh, are your videos staged?" I'm like, "Well, you can see me on Rodeo, asking random people every weekend." The ones that are celebrity ones often are skits, and I want people to know that. I'm like, obviously, I didn't just roll up to President Biden. Like in some situations, it'll be a celebrity situation where they know I'm going to be at a certain spot. Like it's not like a 3, 2, 1 action, kind of like Ranveer Singh. But yeah, like these celebrities, it's a win-win for me. So if a celebrity wants to do like a skit or they're going to be at the right place at the right time for me to roll up to them, I'll usually it's a win-win. They get the publicity. Maybe they'll shut out like a movie or something. I have done brand deals though with celebrities that are obviously paid. Like I've done Netflix brand deals where like they're promoting like Wednesday, for example, the show or what's the show? Is it Wednesday? Yeah, Wednesday.
Jenna Ortega?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like I've done Fast and Furious. So I've done that like with Vin Diesel or like, other cast members. And sometimes we'll make that look like I randomly ran up to them. Like Helen Mirren, for example, is one of my most viral videos. She's sitting there on Sunset Boulevard and she has a billboard of herself. And that's one of my best advert campaigns I've ever done. But she's sitting there, billboard. I say, "Oh, you look familiar." She points up and there's her sitting there.
It's one of your most viral videos, right?
Yeah, I got like 70 million views. So that's another great return on investment for. And
I had no idea that
Universal.
was a brand deal, actually.
Yeah, it was a brand deal, and I think they paid me like $15,000. This was like one of my first videos, $15,000 or something. So the ROI for them, that video ended up getting 200 million views across everything. So that obviously Helen Mirren's not sitting on the side of the road just waiting for random people to roll up to her, but it's stuff like that where I'll get paid if it's set up, where it's tag this, tag that, do this. But if it's a celebrity that's going to be at the right place at the right time, and I don't have to like abide by their stupid rules, then it's a win-win. And I've never accepted payment from a celebrity to do a video now.
Something that Graham and Jack asked you about on the Iced Coffee Hour a few years back was your network and just like your general Rolodex. And yeah, I wanted your thoughts on this. This is a very like niche, nuanced question. I think it's important that like aspiring entrepreneurs think about this concept. So people say your network is your net worth. You remind me of myself a bit in that we both have pretty large followings, pretty solid when it comes to like talking to people, providing insights on their business. Like we're not some like dumb influencer that like doesn't understand that part of it. But I think you and I both could probably call 10 guys that are richer than us and like they're not really going to tell us anything that's going to get us to that next level in business.
Yeah.
Right. So do you really think like your net worth like is your network? Like how important do you think networking is? How has it helped you so far? Just like what is like the deep dive of this?
Yeah, it's interesting you bring that up because I feel like it's I agree with you, and it's kind of the opposite of what a lot of people do or think as far as like a quick headline, like for like a video or something like that. Like,
they think you'll meet like 5 billionaires and become a billionaire.
Yes,
like I'm sure it helps. But it's not so straightforward.
Yeah.
That person doesn't have direct insight on your business.
Yeah, exactly. There's no magic. People are looking for magic. It's funny because, I ask people what they do for a living and I ask them for advice. But obviously, some people are more specific than others. And I don't like to bother these people. Like, it's kind of the biggest thing. So, like, a lot of these people that I meet, like, I don't want to call them up all the time and ask them for advice. I'm sure a lot of them would be happy to give me advice and stuff like that. But, yeah, they work in real estate and I do social media. They have no clue how I make more money. They have no context at all. So I feel like within your industry, being friends with a large content creator that's done it before and knows how to maximize like Snapchat or Facebook, for example, that is a direct correlation to making more money. Like, hey, do this on Facebook, do this on YouTube, and you'll make more money because I've done it myself within your industry. But people that are billionaires that do whatever, like real estate or whatever billionaires do, they can't. Yeah, I'm sure that they can give me large scale business advice that might help me as I get older. Like say I'm 35 and I want to make a business and maybe we become business partners or maybe I become an investor in their business. But that's like very macro scale stuff. Like, for example, Graham Stephen is a good example. Like maybe I want to get into real estate and maybe me and him go double on a huge commercial real estate property because we become friends later down the line. And that could be something that, could actually make me money. Or maybe I ask him for real estate advice in something in his lane. So I think it only makes sense if you're doing something in their field and it's something that would maybe work, maybe not, but it's not like a quick get rich quick thing. It's like a 10, 20 years down the line. Maybe you're friends with somebody, they introduce you to one of their friends and that leads you to doing this in this industry. It's like, it's very like a web kind of, and you don't know where it's going to help and who's going to help you. But yeah, a lot of these people, it's like the guru influencer kind of people, LinkedIn influencer people, like they think that going to get coffee every day with some of these wealthy people are going to make you rich automatically and you can ring them up and ask them for advice. That's a good way to get people not to be friends with you and lose your number basically.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, I don't want people bothering me all the time asking me for stuff. Like if people want to ask me questions here and there, I'm happy to help them, but I don't want someone ringing my line all the time asking for stuff.
I mean, have you noticed, like, this is really interesting. This applies directly to me. Have you noticed that a lot of wealthy individuals are hanging out with other wealthy individuals, or have you noticed that they spend a lot of their time with like their employees and like their peers in the business?
Interesting.
I'm sure you get to a certain
Yeah.
level where you're just golf coursing it with like other
Yeah.
billionaires or something, but
I think so. I think because it's not related. Like for example, yeah, you can't have your friend that works a regular 9 to 5 if you're super rich go get lunch with you at this spot unless you want to pay for their stuff and all that, which I'm sure happens. But yeah, even for me, like I mostly hang out with people that don't do content. Like almost all my friends don't do social media, and this isn't like a boo-hoo for me situation. Obviously, it's like there'll be some things where I'm like, hey, let's go do this, let's go do that. And like it's out of the price range for some people sometimes. So that's where it is nice where sometimes I'm hanging out with people that can afford things that I can afford. And I think that kind of naturally happens the wealthier you get. If you're a billionaire, you can't hit up your person that does 9 to 5 to go skiing in Switzerland randomly on a Tuesday. Not like I, do that. But I think it naturally, as you get older, the longer that you've been wealthy, the more you kind of have a circle of people that are in your same influence and you can also relate to them. So there probably is a loss of relatability with people that aren't in your net worth kind of eventually, but I still like hanging out with people that, live regular life, for example. So yeah, I think it's kind of probably a mix of both. I bet you wealthy people do hang out with wealthier people more so than non-wealthy people. But I don't know, honestly, because I feel like I don't like kick it with billionaires all the time. It's usually just a quick little lunch and like they're with their employees there on site. But I don't know what they do like on their random days usually.
how do you approach these high-profile individuals differently from, I guess, average net worth people, both in videos or like just in networking opportunities?
Honestly, I don't really approach them much differently. I think people that are down to do a video with me, that's already kind of been automatically weeded out. So if they know my content, a lot of this applies to yacht people because that's kind of the people that I would hang out with and film. I'll do my videos where I ask people what they do for a living and I get on their yacht and they give me a tour. A lot of the times those people are billionaires or like high millionaire, $500, $600 million people. And usually they're pretty chill, honestly. I think there's like this weird stigma with wealthy people that they're unapproachable. And I've found that a lot of the times wealthy people can be some of the nicest people because they got to that point by being good socialites, basically. They know how to interact with people. They're not rude and they get how things work. So they have like a lot of like social awareness and like they have high, what's it called? EQ. They have high EQ. So usually they're very nice. It's almost very rare for me to meet people that are super wealthy that are like dicks or like super rude. I know what happens, and maybe I have like a false skewed sense of reality because they're being nicer
Those
to me.
people typically grew up with money. In my experience, and they didn't have to develop the character traits that would allow you to be wealthy on your own. Something like that.
Yeah, I agree. And if they're gonna do a video with me and they want to show off their car, people usually in that scene are pretty chill. I'm sure there are people that I would never be able to get in contact with because they wouldn't ever want to film with me and they wouldn't be nice to me because they don't care. They don't like social media. They don't want to be filmed. Like the billionaire people is the one thing I've found with people that drive hypercars or yacht owners. They are the ones that don't want their faces shown for the most part. It's really rare for me to find a Koenigsegg owner or like a Pagani owner that wants to be filmed and isn't giving me a very brief, short answer. There are really nice Bugatti owners that do exist. Like yesterday, I filmed one that gave me solid advice. But for the most part, once you get to that level, there's like another level of like money talks, wealth whispers kind of. They don't want to be on camera for whatever reason, whether it's like shady tax stuff or they just value their privacy. And that's one thing that I found the difference between like a millionaire and a billionaire is like millionaires, a lot of the times their cars are rented, these Lamborghini owners, they're leasing them or they just like the clout. But people that are super, super wealthy don't usually like the clout, except for rare instances.
Why is that, you think?
I think, yeah, they just don't want that target on their back. They don't want people to know that they have as much money. They don't want to be sued. Because
that's a big one.
Yeah. They don't, this guy has $1 billion. Let me figure out a way to sue him for something.
That's the real risk that people face. It's not someone breaking into your house and robbing you. It's someone suing you for some bullshit case and like you having to just pay it off because that's what's easier to do.
Settle it, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, although I will say in LA, this was more so the case in 2021. There were people that I'd film in their cars wearing a Richard Mille or other like an AP, and they would not want me to post the video, and they'd contact me after what I've been saying like on email saying, delete the video just because I'm wearing a AP. I don't want someone like following me back to my house. Which I actually have met a couple people that I'm friends with that are wealthy, and they have had people follow them from a bar or club. They get spotted at like say a club wearing an AP. These people will follow them in their Uber back to their house and then rob them at their gate. It's happened to a couple people I know.
I mean, I can't even believe people go out with a Richard Mille to begin with. I mean, just for those watching, I remember growing up not knowing about these things. A Pagani is what, $1 million, $3 million?
Yeah, on average, at least 2 million probably.
And then a Richard Mille is like 400 to a mil, something like that.
Mil on the bottom. For some of them, mil on the bottom. Yeah. 500K mil.
Yeah, you are getting robbed if you wear that too.
The watch is so easy too. Like selling a Pagani is hard.
Yeah.
Because it's, for example, Pagani Huayras are a very common Pagani. There's only 100. They're all individually tailored. So if someone spots that Pagani, they're going to know it's theirs. Stolen. But a Richard Mille, that's another story that you could sell on the black market somewhere.
Yeah, and there's a lot of fake ones, so it's like...
Yeah.
You said that you don't really want to bother these wealthy people after you've kind of networked with them. You said maybe working on a real estate project with Graham Stephan. Do you see any other ways to utilize these connections in the future? Or is it kind of just like a stepping stone thing where it's like, meet this person, maybe I'll get to do a video with Donald Trump? Like, is that really like kind of your short-term goals right now with networking?
I feel like a lot of the times I kick myself because I feel like I'm not using my connections to my... Well, yeah, and I said this on the Graham Stephan show. Like, I feel like I'm not utilizing some of the connections I have appropriately.
And you think that's still the case? Have you changed it in any ways?
I just like I feel like right now I have so much going on for myself. At the beginning, when I first started my account, I was so worried that I needed to make a business or do something immediately while I have the eyes, which obviously is good. And I've done stuff like I have a car rally called the Legends Rally. Like I've tried to do some stuff, but I was really worried that I was gonna like miss my chance. But right now, I'm making like enough money focusing and like pouring myself into what actually works that I don't have time to like utilize some of these connections or like kind of like work with them more than I should, or maybe like try and start a business with some of these people because like I don't have time. And I feel like there's no point in like making myself feel bad about only having 24 hours in the day. And I feel like eventually when social media does kind of die out for me, which eventually will happen, at that point, I'll be ready to move on to a different thing in my life. But like right now, there's no point in me kicking myself for continuing to do something that works. Mm-hmm. And I feel like I've come to that like peace essentially that obviously it's good to kind of keep the ball rolling and try to spread out my wings as much as I can, but there's only so much I can do. And I will at some point go into business with some of these people, make something maybe automotive related that I can make my own brand. But, it's hard to do. It's harder than most people think to sell stuff with a following. So I don't know if that answers your question at all, but later in life, I will, I'll like nurture some of these relationships more. And I obviously am not using these people as like a milking table where I suck, my friendship with them. Like right now I'm just friends with these people. So like, I don't view like meeting people as like I met them and they're going to meet me with this person. I don't like asking like people that know. I actually never ask people I know that are friends with celebrities, hey, can you get this person to do a video with me? I like to kind of like do it on my own just because I just don't like to be that kind of guy. Like I don't want to like have people view me as like trying to use them. And when people sometimes are very generous and they say, oh yeah, I'm friends with this person, like, would you want to do a video with them? And I feel like when it's natural and organic like that, it usually is better. So I try to stay away from like trying to use people. And a lot of people are like, well, why don't you use your connections more? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm traveling so much. I'm so busy and I just don't like doing it. So, yeah.
So getting people like Joe Biden or Jason Derulo in your videos, it must be a pretty interesting process. I know the latter was kind of a random thing that just kind of happened to work out. But if you wanted to get someone like Elon Musk or say Donald Trump, what would the process look like of finding a guest like that?
So I almost did a video with Trump like 2 months ago at Mar-a-Lago. And that's obviously one where you can't just, I mean, you could, with Trump, you could in a crowd maybe roll up to him. I did film one of him. Basically, I'll give you the process. So I got in contact with somebody that was running an event that Trump was going to most likely be at, but I had to be approved through Secret Service to even be there. But they couldn't tell me that he was coming. But because you had to be screened through Secret Service, you assume he's coming. They do a full background check on you. To even get in, you show us a QR code, everything's scanned, you have like your ID. Then I go to this fancy pants event, and on site, I'm talking to their team. Trump apparently has been briefed on me, which is crazy. He asks like if I'm a Trump guy, like he's like asking about like what the video would be. I'm explaining to Secret Service, like you guys can have the footage before I post it. Here's a video I did with Biden. It got 200 million views. You need to campaign right now. You need, young people, especially for the Republican side, they need more young people. So I was like, yeah, this is great. It'll take 10 seconds. And the team was like, yeah, we're probably going to make it happen. And day of, I'm talking to his head of his campaign staff, and he goes, yeah, dude, Trump's team just, they're worried that you might be able to edit the footage in a certain way. And I'm like, well, you guys can have the footage. I'll film on your device. And they're like, we're worried that you could dub in, something like that. And I was like, God, so
You could do that now.
yeah,
You know?
yeah, I could do anything. So it ended up not happening. I filmed a video where I kind of yell at him and ask him what he does for a living. He like turns and waves at me, which is,
Oh, you did do a video with him.
I didn't do it with them though. Like I got him in it though. He
Yeah.
did look at me and wave. So it's kind of cool. But yeah, like someone like Musk or him, like you really gotta, I've been trying to get Musk too. Like I've been talking to someone at Tesla I met at a bar in Santa Monica, and he meets with them weekly, and he says that Musk is just very, you have to time it right. And like, I'm like, I'll fly out to wherever, get him a Cybertruck, viral video. And some people get it and some people don't.
Cybertruck's at its peak right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
I looked that up on Google search terms. I was curious if it was.
Oh, it
still-
is peaking right now.
Is it its peak right now? You'd think it would be like a month ago or something, but like,
I guess because a lot of other people are getting them for the first time. Like in LA, we've seen them for months, but
yeah.
now I
It's
don't
called a
even bat
car.
an eye. But
Yeah.
in Vegas and other spots, like people are losing their minds over them. Yeah.
So how did the Joe Biden video work? Did you come up with what to say for him? Like, did his team come up with what to say? Can you talk about that process?
Yeah, it was crazy. Honestly, I got an email from the White House. It said greetings from the White House, subject. And I was like, this is a spam thing. So I almost deleted it, but I looked at the domain name and it was like whitehouse.gov. I was like, what the fuck? So then they're like, oh yeah, we'd love to potentially do something with you. And I'm like, does this mean with Joe Biden? But I don't ask that. Play it cool. Get on the phone. They're like screening me basically. And they're like, yeah, like, would you be available, potentially to shoot something? Eventually, they do screen me, and they do a full background check where they just ask for my name and my hometown. I'm like, you need anything else? They're like, nope, we're the government. And then 2 weeks later, I get the results back, and I'm clean, thankfully. And they go, all right, so we want to do a video with Biden. He wants to promote an infrastructure bill. We were going to do it at the White House, which would have been cool, but we're going to do it at the Detroit Auto Show. So they're like, you'll show up. You can't go with anyone else. We can't pay you, obviously. You have to pay for all your airfare. You have to go alone.
Really?
Yeah.
They didn't pay for anything.
It's not allowed. It's like a law where they can't, like for media, it's like some kind of bill or something. So I show up all alone, which is scary. And Secret Service has these like little pins that they wear. It's like little purple pins. I don't know. They probably changed it up. And they're all plainclothes people walking around too. And they like keep walking up to me. What are you doing here? The Detroit Auto Show's closed. And I'm like, I'm doing a video. And they were like, I had people that were like, no, he's okay. And then eventually I meet with him. I talked to Trump, not Trump.
Biden.
Yes, I'm getting my presents.
A little bit
mixed
of a
up.
difference.
Yes, I talked to Biden for a couple minutes. Don't remember what I said. Blacked out. I almost passed out because I was just like, I was all alone too. It was kind of scary. And like, I don't know what I said, but I think I did fine. And then we shoot the video, and it was a one and done take. They were like, oh, do you want to redo it? And we looked to the left, and he's driving away. I almost got.
Did
in
he
his car,
struggle
too.
with his lines?
Yeah. I mean, because I think he had been briefed on what to do prior. I think
Yeah.
it looked like he was maybe looking at like a notes list on the steering wheel. I couldn't tell exactly. I think so. Yeah, but he was actually really nice. People asked me how he was. He reminded me of like just a jolly old man.
Yeah.
He definitely like smelled like an old man.
Oh, that's
He's old.
interesting.
Yeah, he smelled old.
Yeah.
But he was really nice actually. It was kind of like talking to like your grandpa.
Yeah.
He then drives off. He was very friendly.
Yeah.
So he was a really nice guy, but drives off, and he goes in the video. He goes, well, if you want to go to Washington and hop in my car, feel free. And that was not in like any prearranged script. And I literally was like, this would be really funny if I get in the backseat of his car and like film like me, like, hey, let's go to Washington, which would have made the video go even crazier. But after we cut, Secret Service walked up to me and they go, yo, I'm very glad he didn't get in his car because we may have tackled you. And I was like, would you have? And he was like, we don't know because it wasn't part of the script. So I literally almost grabbed the door handle. And
imagine if that's how you went out.
Yeah.
Joe Biden goes off script and you get in the back of his car, just Secret Service.
And I just
done.
drive away. I don't know. I guess he kind of plays by his own rules because he wasn't, it was interesting. He was supposed to obviously mention like infrastructure bill. It's like an ad for his bill, but.
Did he talk about the bill?
Yeah, but he said it in kind of like a very generic way, which actually was better for the content because it wasn't as like scripty, but he just was like, oh, we're trying to get people to get electric vehicles.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I had no idea that was about a bill.
Yeah. So I think they actually played it kind of good. And honestly, I think the fact that he said that, maybe, he knew better. I think they wanted to be more build back better bill or something, which is stupid. So, and then that video was my fastest video to ever hit 1 million views, 50 minutes on TikTok, which is pretty crazy.
50 minutes? You
50 minutes, 1 million views.
Oh, 1 million. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you said 100 million for some reason. I was like,
no.
It's like Bella Porch level stuff.
Yeah, but that was like, because, there's that buffer period. And then I think it ended up getting like 50, 60, across everything, it got like 200 million views.
I understand the process for a video like that, but what's your typical process for content creation? You mentioned off camera a bit that people see TikTokers as like these lazy farts that sit around all day and maybe film a video if they're like, I don't know, need some money.
You're feeling it, yeah.
Yeah. But I imagine you work pretty hard in like curating your videos.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think it's like a side gig kind of thing, but like they forget that it's a business. Like it's an LLC that like I have employees that like depend on me. So like you can't just kind of mess around and.
It's a media company.
Yeah, literally. Exactly. So I have employees. I have an agency. There's a lot of like different processes, but like typically a lot of my day is spent by trying to curate, setting up collaborations, doing meetings with different brands. So like once I have a brand that comes in and they want to work with me, there's like lots of meetings that you have to do to set up like exactly what you want to film, making a script. Then there's also setting up collaborations just for my own personal content. So say I want to do a car collection. We're trying to get that video. We're trying to set up a date for it. We're trying to script it out. We're shooting the content. Then we're editing the content. And then a lot of what goes into it is curating the content for all platforms. So a lot of people think I just do TikTok.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like I'm doing TikTok, Snapchat. So I'm doing TikTok, then there's stories on all these platforms too. But for example, just TikTok, YouTube Shorts, YouTube long form, Snapchat as a profile, Snapchat as a show, Snapchat Spotlight.
So you do different versions of all your videos for each platform.
We'll get like a 5-minute cut of a video or 6-minute cut. There'll be or say we'll have an 8-minute cut. That'll go on YouTube long form. Then we'll trim that down to a mid-form version that'll go on Facebook, and then that'll go on Snapchat as a Snapchat episode, and it'll go on YouTube also as like a shorter cut. And then we'll trim that down and make a YouTube short that's 59 seconds. We'll do a TikTok that's, a minute and a half or whatever. Instagram Reel, it's a minute and a half. Facebook Reel, it's a minute and a half. And then other platforms too. And then a Snapchat short. So there's like, and then
So what's the first thing you think of with these videos? Is it like, what does the first second of this video look like? Like,
yeah, I'd say a lot of people, like if I were to give tips to people that are trying to do well on social media, people say it, but like it's really important because if you watch somebody scrolling on their phone, they're swiping within the first second. If you watch even if you monitor yourself watching a TikTok, you're pretty much giving a video 1 second of a chance, maybe 1.5 seconds.
Yeah. Some people have said like 0.2.
Yeah. I mean, probably, yeah. I'm like basically looking really quick and just, so I put text on the screen. There's a lot of different like tricks you can do to kind of lock people in. I think having text on screen makes people have to read it first before they swipe away. So it's kind of like a little bit of like a
You kind of utilize everything. You utilize sound effect at the beginning, text pop-up, good visual hook.
Yeah.
It kind of man on the street vibe. Like it looks like a lot of your videos look like someone just captured something outside, which is the case a lot of the times. But I think that's kind of a good formula for virality.
Yeah. Like we'll blend it. Like my OG videos, it used to be me walking up to the car slowly. Hey man, excuse me, what do you do for a living? And then them cutting. But now it's like the car will be driving by. We'll blend the audio where me asking the question is within the first second while the car's rolling up, and then the price cha-ching pops up. So that way they can't swipe away. And then it cuts immediately to them giving their answer. So you don't lose the audience.
It's so many things at once. Yeah.
Yeah. Like basically it's like
cool
ching,
car,
like,
money amount, like sound effects.
They're
question.
reading it. Yeah. On top of the screen, I'll have like a prelude to what they'll say. So it'll be like, she didn't answer me, or like she yelled at me. And then like they're like, the brain is like, holy shit, price, car, I have to read this before I can swipe away. And it like basically like locks you in. I mean, basically locks you into watching the video and giving it a chance. And there's a lot of that strategy too. Even on longer clips, like mid-form videos, like trying to get that perfect cut, that takes a lot of time. And thumbnails are probably another one of the biggest things that take me a ton of time. Like for Snapchat, it's essential. For YouTube, it's essential. Those sometimes take longer than formatting the video to post it and getting a caption and all that combined.
Thumbnail is the most important part of those videos.
Yeah,
for sure.
So all these little things that people think are like nothing, but when you're managing it on all of these platforms, like 6, 7 platforms, and then also doing like podcast stuff and all that, like the brand deals, the editing, the actual shooting, the figuring out to do the shooting, and it's all so much stuff.
Where does most of your time go, would you say?
Most of my time, honestly, emails probably. I check my email like I'm very hands-on. So like a lot of people have like agencies that will produce they'll get a cut and they'll post that stuff onto Facebook. Like they'll have like and they'll use Facebook or Snapchat and they'll have people that auto post for them on all these platforms and they'll also manage their emails. I have no manager. So like I do everything myself as far as like curating content. Cause for me, I feel like I'd be spending more time trying to tell my manager what I want to do and what we're doing than doing it myself.
This is coming from 2 successful creators across multiple platforms. I would not recommend, I'm not coming for any company in particular, but I would not recommend you working with an agency to post your content on Facebook or Snapchat.
Yeah, fuck that.
I would say that you as a creator are probably a little bit more aware of what's going on those platforms and how to curate your content for them to be successful, you know? Because if they post 4 of your videos and do a bad job with it, the difference of you making it 20% better is the difference of you making 100K on it, you know, for example. But
yeah, some of these companies are shit. I don't know if you've worked with them, but fuck them. Like they came to me and they wanted,
I don't know if we could say that.
Yeah. Have you worked with them?
I have worked with them.
Yeah. Okay. Well, some companies have come to me, which I will not name, and they've wanted 50-50 rev splits on Facebook, and Facebook already takes 50%, so you're really getting 25%. And then that's the same for other platforms, and they don't know what they're doing. Like they don't know what works. They don't know what title works. You know way better, like you're saying. So it's like, you're screwing yourself. I'd rather get an employee of mine, which is what I have, salaried, that can learn my content exactly how I want it and doesn't take 50% of my revenue.
Yeah. I mean, that's the biggest advice. We were talking about networking earlier, and I was like, I think more important than networking with people more successful than you is networking with people like maybe less successful than you monetarily, but more skilled in a certain area, you know? Like the fact that you could probably find someone who would be very happy taking, I don't know, 20% of your Facebook revenue or a salary to do the job better than you and be more focused on just that thing. Like that's the difference maker in content, you know? And I don't know, especially when you curate a fan base like yours, I'm sure tons of guys like just want to work for you, you know?
Yeah.
Is that how you found a lot of employees actually?
Dude, the thing is, like, honestly, what I've found, and this is a learning curve for me in getting employees, is I get a lot of like inbound emails. Usually those people are the ones that are not the best, because the best are the ones that you really got to, you know.
The best are already working somewhere else.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
my take, but yeah.
So, yeah, and obviously, you know, I won't get into it too much, but, you know, poaching does happen in the industry.
Yeah.
Where people are actively trying to get your employees. But, you know, if you don't know someone specifically, like you're not friends with them, I'd poach their people. You know, if I'm not friends with them or I don't know them, of course. So getting people that are working in the industry, they actually know the ins and outs versus getting, a lot of people do like Fiverr people and they'll pay them like $1 or whatever, $5. And like, that's not how I roll. Obviously for some stuff that's really simple, it can be good, like thumbnail people, stuff like that. But yeah, people that are working in the industry that are local, really good, and they're really hard to find. I had a really hard time finding a replacement for Blake, my old employee.
Yeah, I'd imagine.
It was like very difficult, even though like some of the videos I do are very simple, like just what do you do for a living and stuff. There's so many like little caveats and then also more complex ones that like, that's the hardest part is finding someone that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. I talked with our last guest about this. We kind of came to a revelation that it makes it easier to hire when like you yourself are a very like well-rounded individual that has like good character traits, because you kind of attract other hardworking people. I don't know if that makes sense. It's kind of like a work on yourself and allows you to attract better talent. But
do you have employees? Or do you have like gig worker?
Yeah, I have. I have some other businesses that I run. This podcast really just has one employee. maybe 2 employees for thumbnails. But those other businesses have 20 to 30, 40 employees. And I don't know, it's kind of just, I found a really good operator of the business. And I like showed him my hiring processes and try to teach him everything I know. And then he was able to kind of scale from there, you know?
Okay, yeah.
But yeah, it's, hiring is a big one, and it's something not a lot of people, creators can figure out, but it's just a skill like everything else, you know? And you just have to be kind of passionate about it. But, yeah, so how do you balance spontaneity with planning in your videos, or spontaneity with planning in your videos? Like, how many of your videos are real? How many videos are staged? Like, how do you make it come off as like kind of this viral moment sometimes? Like, can you talk about some of that curation?
Yeah. Any video you see on Rodeo is real, like for the most part. Obviously, like I said, sometimes I do celebrity videos where like it'll be like a skit or like an ad that we shoot. But like any video, like there was a time period where I would there was a time period where I'd be filming at like car shows, and a lot of people knew my videos. So like they'd see me coming up, and like the reactions weren't good because they already knew it was coming. Like the best videos I get are straight up me running up to random people that say crazy stuff on Rodeo. So like a lot of the times, like if I do like a skit with a celebrity or whatnot, like obviously they're viral because they're celebrities, but like my most viral videos are random people that are unhinged saying crazy stuff on Rodeo. Like a lot of times they're in rented cars, and I switched from going to car shows where people would, like a lot of times it'd be like a quasi stage situation where people would say, hey, like I'm at this car show on foot. They'd be like, when I leave, would you want to get me in a video? So it's like not me like scripting something out, but like I'm going to be standing here. So if you want to be in a video, like, so, you know, you can decide whether that's staged or not. I feel like it's just me like agreeing to do something that's there. And a lot of the times it looks staged because they know it's coming, and it's like,
that's the issue. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, obviously
people aren't the best actors necessarily.
Yeah. I don't know what they're going to say, but like, because they know I'm going to ask what they do for a living, they're like already ready. And I think a lot of people think those are like staged, even though like I don't know what they're going to say. But the best ones, and it sucks because obviously it makes me having to stand on Rodeo Drive for 5 hours a weekend or 10 hours a weekend a thing. Even at my level of like followers, it's like humbling because I'm just standing there on the side of the road getting yelled at sometimes.
Yeah.
But those are the best videos. So I
always say, real life is more interesting than fiction. You know?
Yeah.
Anything that you could come up with is not nearly as interesting as actual human behavior. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure you've noticed that. But
yeah.
I think you said on one of the other podcasts you've been on that maybe you talked to 10,000 people at this point?
Yeah, probably.
Something like that?
I think I've probably asked like, 10,000 supercar owners what they do. I think every year I probably do it to like 2,000, 3,000 people. I've been doing it for almost 4 years, so it's got to be in the 10,000s. Which is crazy there's that many supercar people rolling around, but it is kind of like an unlimited melting pot in LA.
I don't want to double down on this kind of, we've already kind of hashed this out, but what are some other interesting responses you've gotten from these people? Like maybe ones that you haven't posted or...
Yeah, because I've done it so many times that like a lot of the, I feel like there's like a skewed sample size on what people actually do for a living because I've filmed a lot of like very common occupations. Like a lot of people are in like engineering, marketing, stuff like that, and that's just not really interesting. The big common answers I find for people that are driving supercars are real estate, number one. Mm-hmm. Almost everyone that owns a supercar does real estate, like 99% of people, which is crazy. Like they're either commercial real estate people, and those are usually like hypercar owners that own like crazy big lots. Like they own studios, they own like 500 person apartment complexes. That's like your Bugatti owners. And then like your regular supercar owners are like doctors, lawyers, sometimes plumbers is a really interesting one. A lot of plumbers, a lot of trade people. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize is like electricians, plumbers, trade occupations do really, really well. And then,
Like you mean they have a business in that niche?
Yeah. Or they're actually just salaried and they're like high level plumbers. So they either own like a plumbing company. So the number two most common thing I see is business owners. That usually is 95% of people that are driving supercar owners because there's only so much money you can make working for someone else. But there are salaried people that do really well, and those are typically like doctors, computer science, like computer programmer people, architects sometimes. So yeah, I find it like a lot of different occupations, but yeah, I mean, usually.
What are some weird ones? What's the weirdest one you've heard that like wasn't staged necessarily? You're just like, what the hell did this person just say?
I found somebody that does music for porn.
Music for porn?
And I thought he was kidding, but he wasn't. And I found this out later that it's a fact.
What was he driving?
He drove a SVJ, Aventador SVJ Lamborghini.
Huh.
So he does porn music, which is interesting. So he must own like a company that does all the like license free or whatever porn music. It's really interesting. Or maybe that's his new gig. That was really weird.
Adult music. That's so interesting.
Yeah. Oh, I found a couple that it owns all the ice. They do ice. It's like, you know, like it's one of those, like, a lot of these are jobs where people, you know, it exists out there. Like the people that make the light bulb filament or
It's
like
something
they make glass for tables.
The richest people have said this to me. They're like, Jack, look around in your house. Those are the people making money.
Yeah.
It's like, who's behind Charmin? You know?
Yeah.
It's like, who's behind like the goddamn light fixtures, like you're
like
saying.
I don't know, like the people that make like shoelaces, like, you
Yeah.
know. So like,
have you asked these people like how they broke into these industries?
I feel like I should dive deeper with them. A lot of these are just short little minute.
Because I have no idea. You know, it's like, how do you get into oil? You know?
Yeah, it's usually very random. Like usually I do ask people like, how did you get started? And a lot of them are just like right place, right time. Like they have a family member that got into it and like they just kind of like fall into them. Like no one grows up saying like, I'm going to become the biggest doorknob guy in America. They just like accidentally get into it. So I wish I could, have like a better answer for like, oh, how do I replicate that? But a lot of it's just kind of like luck in that front. And obviously they build off of their initial luck. Because I don't think you can become wealthy with just luck alone, obviously. But yeah, people have made ice. They've made like, I don't even know, like ceilings. Like they make like stucco. They make bricks. Like
do you post those videos or are they just on it?
Yeah. They're rare. It's hard to find people that do like those really obscure ones, but usually they're the richest people. A lot of them actually, it's a really common one for hypercar owners is scrap metal in junkyards. I just posted a Bugatti compilation.
I saw a junkyard one.
Yeah,
on yours.
And on that one, I had two different people that did junkyards or scrap metal. So that's big too. And how do you get into scrap metal? I don't know. It's a family business or you accidentally fall into it and get lucky.
It's so funny, like to people our age, it's like the only occupations that seem real are, there's the college occupations, obviously, and then it's like YouTuber, drop shipping, like selling a course online. Like you never think of like, I don't know, owning a construction business. Because like, I guess really no one's making content about it. So we're kind of in this vacuum of not knowing about those businesses.
Yeah, construction actually is a big one I hear a lot. People that like survey land and stuff like that. A lot of like people that build stuff. Yeah, like construction, manufacturers at a large scale. Those are also the big dogs that I get. Although I don't post them as much anymore because I've done it so many times. It's not very shareable. So like I say, there is kind of a skew on what I film. I feel like there's a lot more construction people than I post.
Interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
So there's a guy that makes content. I might be having him on the show as well. It's like School of Hard Knocks.
Oh yeah.
And we actually went to college together.
That's the guy that does Highland Park Village.
Oh,
yeah.
Interesting.
He does Highland Park, and he's not banned, I guess.
Yeah. He was at school at the same time as me during COVID, UT Austin. And
kind of ripped my stuff a little bit, but he got
definitely. But he does his own.
He goes
thing.
into his own, like it's kind of in his own lane. Like he does dive in a lot deeper with them.
Yeah,
which is it is a lot more like financial and like informative. Mine is a little.
His
bit
is
more,
less about the cars and like less about the object that you're showing.
Yeah, he's not a car guy. Like I don't even know if he shows the car price. He might show the car price, but I'm more interested in like automotive. I feel like most of my followers are automotive with a little bit of like, I'd say my account is like 25% comedy, 25% financy, and like 50% automotive. Yeah, and it's kind of a blend in those videos that are all four of those.
Is that strategic to place yourself well for brand deals, you think?
Yeah. I think it's
because he's kind of built a community. Like he has a very large Discord, and I think it's like a paid membership type thing.
Okay, yeah.
And maybe that wouldn't make as much sense for you as like a car rally or partnering with Ford or something for a brand deal.
Yeah, because he's not doing videos with like Chevy or like BMW because I think he's doing more so like he'd do ads for like stockbrokerage stuff. Like say like Webull wants to do a video. I feel like he's more in that niche. I've done stuff with them too and like other stuff like that, but I'm a little bit more spread thin to reach a wider audience, and that's kind of been strategic. But yeah, it's funny because he is doing it at the location that I started at.
That's
too,
really funny.
and doing kind of my same thing. But
Yeah.
he does kind of stay in his own lane, so I don't know.
He is from Austin, Texas. I will give him that.
Yeah. So yeah, but he goes up to Dallas and shoots literally at the at that spot. It's fine though, because it's kind of like a subgenre now. Like there's a lot of different people that do different stuff. Like, and I won't say some of their names. Some of them don't like me, which is weird because I started doing it kind of first on TikTok. But you know, it is what it is.
So why did that interest change for you? Because I remember seeing your videos when, like, I don't know, I was 18 years old in high school and being like, okay, I really want to know like what these people do so I know how to make money. Like I was never a big car guy. I've like recently got a little more into it, but like where did your interest shift from that to the cars? Is that something like you and your agent were talking about strategically, or just like,
No.
did you start going to car rallies and have more interest in it?
I just wasn't as much of a car guy when I started my account. Like I knew about cars and I was into them, but I was like your kind of like standard guy. Like I wasn't like one of those like since the dawn of 7 years old knows every little car and like can hear the engine noise like at the time. So I think it was more like my financial background where that was what I was interested in, and that's like more where I honed in. And I think people like a little bit of both. Like now I sprinkle like hardcore advice sometimes with like more funny people being crazy. And I kind of just like shift my content to be like a little bit of both. So it's not too serious. Like I don't like my account to be like too hardcore finance guru. Like I don't like that vibe. I don't like those kind of people that are like super like everything's serious. Wake up at 4 a.m., cold showers. Like that's, even though I worked in finance, like that's like my nightmare. Like
you're very adjacent to that niche, but I definitely wouldn't categorize you as one of those
I don't like it. So yeah, so once I started getting way more into cars, then it just naturally progressed that I was more focused on the cars. Which the car scene is great. And it's like, I can be in the, like I said at the beginning, I was worried about fizzling out, but there's always going to be new cars to review, new cars to show off. In the car scene, people are always into them. So like that will never go away. Like if you look at people like Supercar Blondie, they're at the top of the niche kind of, they'll never die out because there's always going to be new stuff for them to talk about. New unveils, new Ferraris, new content. So like, it's a great niche to be in, the car scene. I think it's what a lot of people fail. A lot of people that copy my content as far as like man on the street, like interviewing people, what do you do for a living? There's been a million of them. They always kind of fizzle out because they don't have that backbone of like having the car community with them. It's like people kind of get tired of it. But because
they're focused on the wrong thing.
Yeah, like I think because I'm always focusing on a new car, every video has a different price of a car, a different like model, them talking about it, passionate car owners. That's always going to be interesting, I think, for a while. And I've said it a million times. Eventually, the what do you do for a living thing will completely die out. I've said this for like years.
Yeah.
I know it will. Like, you know, it's not the eternal content machine, but it is shocking to me that people are still interested in it. And I think it's because every time you're getting a new person, new car, and that combination is kind of a winning formula. And then there's also some knowledge to learn inside of it too.
Well, let's go a little more specific on that. You talk about being worried about the content fizzling out, but tell us about a viral video that you like planned, right? Maybe like one that the audience knows is staged. And like tell me what went into that, and then tell me like why you knew it would go viral. Because I'm sure there's been some that didn't go viral that you thought would, but tell me one that you were like, I knew that was gonna work.
So one of my best videos, definitely best on YouTube too, was me rolling up to Johnny Sins. So like Johnny Sins, obviously, for those that don't know, is an adult film star, but he also is a
plumber.
Yes, he's a plumber. He's an astronaut. He does everything. So like the running joke is that he does everything. So I was like, I gotta get this guy in a video.
What better person to ask?
There's no one better in the world. And I got it through Angela White, who's another famous adult film star.
I'm assuming they did a collab, likely.
Yeah, they did a collab. She said, "Oh, we just shot with Johnny this morning," and he's not a person that does collabs ever. He's like kind of like out of the limelight. He doesn't like to be filmed. And I rolled up to him and we did the whole like, I'm a plumber, astronaut, Angela White's in the background. That video ended up getting like 25 million views on just TikTok alone, but I think it got like 200 million views across everything.
Yeah.
So that's one that was like planned out kind of in that realm, but one that was a little bit more.
Did you write his script?
We kind of figured it out on site. A lot of the times I don't do like scripted, like with a definitive script. I don't have the best example on this one because like there's other ones where I'll set up like more comment bait. So for example, Angela White, she has she'll have like cucumbers in the background of her scene, like on her seat. And like, that's obviously another one that's like not with a random person. Everyone knows that one's set up. And like, she'll have cucumbers in a grocery bag, and everyone's like, oh, in the comments, like,
Genius.
she
Did you come up with that?
Yeah.
That's smart.
So like, and then everyone is commenting about the cucumbers. Oh, she's gonna use them on herself or whatever. So stuff like that. That's like, yeah, it's shocking because you know, some of these videos are clearly like at that level when you're doing it with a celebrity, people don't care whether it's like a staged video. Like people know my videos when they're real on Rodeo or like with random people because they're not someone that's notable. They're saying unhinged shit, and like you can tell when a video is set up or not.
Definitely.
But like for someone like that, they don't care if it's set up because it's just funny seeing Angela White acting. And then she ended up turning it into a scene herself and asked me to be in it.
You were in a scene?
She asked me.
Oh, you didn't participate.
She was holding a browser script. I didn't repost it on my story because this was like, I was getting some flack for this at the time. Even my parents were like, what are you doing? And she's holding a browser script. It's like, what do you do for a living? And she wanted me to be in the scene. And then I ended up not doing it, obviously. And then they did it. It's a real video you can find. Some guy walks up to her in a car, asks her what it is for a living, asks her what she does for a living.
Someone did an adult scene of one of your videos.
And it's word for word, scripted. And then once the video ends and it's like, oh, like, want to check out my car, check out my place? And then it cuts to legit.
You better get some royalties from that.
I've seen it. It's real.
Oh, you had to make sure that the video got produced.
I had to do some research.
Did he do you justice?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, you know, he could add a couple more inches, but yeah.
Classic. So with so many people copying this niche and it seems like a pretty easy barrier to entry thing. Low moat around just asking someone, what do you do for a living?
Totally.
But that's actually what makes it harder to get into, you know, like if you have an established brand.
A lot of people do it, yeah.
How do you stay on top of like the algorithms and the trends to keep what you're doing relevant?
Yeah, it's interesting because I don't really like typically do like trend videos on TikTok. I view them as kind of cringy. Like some of the it works for some people. For my brand and like my audience, it doesn't work. If I were to do like a TikTok trend, people would be like, fuck you to me.
Yeah.
Which I kind of like. Like my audience it's pretty hard. Like my audience is pretty like aggressive.
They want you to act a certain way.
Yeah. I mean, I think they like the fact that I'm like pretty straight up and I'm not like acting like I'm like one of those like TikTok, like classic, like influencer people. Yeah. Like it's more like genuine because like I'm just being like how I am. So yeah, I've just tried to, obviously like I've done like more technical things to stay ahead of like virality, like as far as like trimming up dead space in my videos and making the start of the video faster and all that kind of stuff. But I've kind of just like, I feel like I'm not the best example because I've kind of just like been sticking to doing what I do. I have added a lot of alt content to keep people interested. So like I'll do yacht videos, I'll do crib style video, like mansion tours. I'll do anything like luxury related, like watches. All that is like kind of evergreen. It's always been a thing that people are interested in, like how do wealthy people get wealthy, but also how do the rich live? So I feel like those videos are something that like people will always be into. Like, of course I want to see this DJ's yacht, or like, of course I want to go on a $100 million house tour. I think that's always kind of going to be there. It's Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous, MTV Cribs. This is like the new kind of iteration of that. So yeah, I mean, just being genuine and like kind of staying true to myself, I feel like is probably the biggest reason that people still like fuck with my shit.
Yeah.
And yeah, not becoming an LA douchebag is like literally as simple as it is, I think.
Well,
at least
let me ask
I view
you this.
myself as
if you if I were to tell you, Daniel, you have a week to get a 100 million view video, like what would that week look like for you?
Okay. I think I could do it. I'd probably do something along the lines of attractive girl. That's like kind of like a winning formula, obviously, like sex sells. I didn't invent it. A lot of my videos have attractive girls in them. I'd probably hit up somebody that's notable in that field. If this is like a life or death gun to my head situation, I'd probably get someone like Riley Reid or someone attractive or someone notable, like a celebrity. That's a winning formula, is like celebrity. And then something that's super outrageous, shareable. So like maybe a window gets smashed in a car. Like it's hard. I've done a lot of this stuff basically, where, you know, but I think the winning formula is scandalous, like a little bit edgy.
Really, for 100 million?
Yeah. Yeah. Something that's shareable. So like, I think what a lot of people forget is the fact that TikTok and other platforms really value shareability because it gets people off app, on app. I think it's like one of the most powerful things. Like,
it's an interesting way of thinking about it.
Like, yeah, like they want, like, what do they, like award the most? People going onto their platform to watch more ads. So I think the share button, a lot of people view content when they make it. They don't view it in the lens of, would you send this to your friend if you didn't know me? So a lot of people they don't make content that's broad enough to be shareable. So you'd want to make something that is very broadly.
There's probably a hidden statistic of like, I don't know, there's probably value to an Instagram DM send versus like sending it on text message.
Yeah,
you know?
I bet.
That's probably the most valuable.
I think so for sure. I mean, I'm sure they factor that in because a lot of the times people will send me stuff in like a group chat and then it gets me on TikTok. And then once I watch that video, I'm scrolling and
45-minute session. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's probably, and in my opinion, I think it's probably true is the share button's the most valuable. So you just got to have it in the back of your head. Will this video be shared by random people? Like if it's too niche, people won't share it in a certain way. Yeah. Like it's kind of hard to explain, but you know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's got to be broad enough to where like, people, it relates to their life as well. So I wish I could give you like
I'm actually shocked that you'd use someone like an adult star. I thought you'd go for like bigger celebrity, like how do I get Elon Musk this week? Like contact the paparazzi and like see if they can help me.
If I could get him to do something like say something kind of wild, if I could get Elon in like a Cybertruck or like Kanye would be crazy.
Drake and Kendrick right now would be very interesting.
That'd be really viral too.
Yeah.
I guess like as far as within my reach. So like if I could get, probably the most viral video I could get would be Kanye in a crazy car saying some crazy shit, or Elon Musk in a Cybertruck saying some crazy shit, and or Trump saying some crazy shit. Those are kind of like the three horsemen of like me trying to get viral content.
Yeah,
Johnny Sins was actually one of the biggest ones, and I got him, which was cool, and it worked out.
Yeah,
but yeah, there's just some people where it's guaranteed to go viral.
Daniel, how has your life changed since becoming a social media star?
Social media star. I don't like that term, but yeah, I mean, it's like weird, honestly. Like as far as like hanging out with friends, everything's kind of the same. Like I hang out and talk with people that don't do content for the most part, which is kind of nice because it's kind of a bit of a breather. Obviously, I hang out with people that do content as well. But honestly, just like
it probably feels like work a little bit. Like if you and I talk about something, it's like, all right, bro, what have you been doing on this platform? Like it's like kind of hard to stick away from it. Yeah.
It's nice to kind of get out of that sphere. Obviously, just having money. People say money doesn't buy happiness. I disagree to a point. I think it gives you freedom to do whatever you want. Like I could literally be like, I'm going to Japan tomorrow just because I feel like it. I wouldn't do that because obviously like I need to stay on top of all this stuff. But it's like stressful in a lot of different ways. Like you're always feeling like you need to stay ahead of the curve and not become like irrelevant. It's kind of like a little hamster wheel basically. And I felt more so that way when I first started out. And now I'm a little more solidified because I feel like, okay, I could take a month hiatus and I'd probably be fine. But like you always feel like you need to keep innovating and keep trying new stuff to like stay relevant. And you always wonder like, okay, when this all ends, like what will I be doing afterwards? So there's definitely like more added stress, obviously, than I had prior. Like having a salary job where you clock in and out is nice. Like I think a lot of people don't appreciate like the simplicity of it all.
I would agree with this.
Yeah.
This is a random take I have. I mean, a lot of people envy us and they envy our jobs.
Yeah.
But I'm like,
of course it's awesome.
If you're someone who's addicted to it, like us, presumably like you almost work more hours for less freedom than the average 9 to 5. You know, it's like, I mean, I don't really take weekends sometimes, you know?
No, I never do. Yeah. Like it's like, yeah. And that sounds like a lot of people hear that and they're like, oh, like, and I don't mean it. Like, obviously I would rather be doing what I'm doing than working a 9 to 5. And I think most people would, but there is like this blissful ignorance of like working the 9 to 5 where like you clock out, you're done with the day. You don't need to think about doing your job anymore. And it's kind of like this with any entrepreneurial job. Like if you're your own boss, you set your own hours, and some people are better than others at actually carving out time for your own self. Like I'm really bad at it. I've gotten better. Like I've been trying to get better at like going to go work out or like eating a meal. And like, and that sounds crazy to people because they're like, oh, you're an idiot. You just do social media. But like, yeah, when you set your own hours, it's so hard for me to shut off. Like Blake, my old guy, he'd literally like hit me on the head and be like, stop fucking doing shit. Like when we're like traveling, we're doing like a brand deal and some other spot, I'd be like, stop it. And I'd be like, I can't. It's like an addiction. Yeah. But you always feel like
people talk about work-life balance, but I've heard some influencers say recently that like just lean into the addiction of it all.
Yeah. It's like Mr. Beast. He's like, Mr. Beast, when you hear him talk about it, obviously he's on another level, but he's like every waking hour I'm doing stuff. And like, for the most part, I'm pretty much working from the time I wake up to like 2 a.m. when I go to bed. And I'll try and carve out some time where I'm like, okay, 40 minutes of no go. But the problem is because we're on social media, a lot of people decompress by going on social media. And we can't do that because then
we can't even watch a video in a normal way.
Yeah. You're just like, oh shit, that reminds me. I should DM this person to do a collab or do whatever. Or I should be doing this. Or
like, oh, that would probably work pretty well in a what do you do for a living video? Like that concept or like.
Yeah. And then like I'll be at you could ask one of my employees, Devin, at 1 a.m., he'll get email. I'll text him all the time and be like, yo, we got to do an outbound email to this person to try and set up a collab. Because I see them doing an interview that did well or whatever. So yeah, like not being able to turn it off is something that is kind of crazy. Like sometimes I just want to like throw my phone into a river and go like live in the jungle for a while. But also I've gotten better by getting more employees at making that less of a thing. Like I can have people posting for me. I'm just too much of a control freak where sometimes I'm just like, oh, I need to do it myself. So it's like,
because when you're addicted to it, it's hard to find people who are better.
Yeah, exactly. I'm so particular. I'm like way OCD with everything, like the fonts, the texts, the capitalizations.
Likewise, man.
Yeah.
My editor's sitting here. He knows how rough it can be sometimes.
Yeah.
But
it's like boohoo. Obviously, people are like, okay,
yeah.
Oh yeah, like you have the. So like, I'm so grateful for doing content, and I'd rather be doing it than anything else. But that's changed, and then also like as far as with people I know, obviously you have the people that come out of the woodworks that you barely knew. Like a lot of people from college that I never talked to are like, hey, here, do this, do that, and the amount of texts and emails I get every day is like not healthy. Like I'll scroll through my phone. I have to set it as like a to-do item. Like every other day, go through your texts because I'll forget. Like, you know how fucking bad, I mean, you do it too, but I'm so fucking bad with my texts. I feel bad. Like you're texting me and I'll be like, oh, I need to respond to that. And then like a couple hours will go by and I'll be like, fuck, and then forget about it. So
it's really weird how like texting people like you versus texting people who don't get a lot of text. Because I don't know, like, when I'm being overbearing with certain people. I'm like someone like you, I'm like, okay, I can text Daniel 3 times in a row. And he's just like, okay, like, this guy needs to contact me. But someone else is like, yo, bro, like, stop texting me so much.
Yeah, you texted me, like, for example, to do this. Yeah, you're like, yo, you good? Like, and that, I need that. Yeah. Like, and so I'll be like, oh, shit.
Because I just get how it is. I'm like, I've missed so many, like, stuff. I just wish someone said you good, you know?
Yeah, with text, you just got to be like, yo, like, just double checking. And then you feel bad because you're like, am I being, But no, for creators, I feel like they get 50, 100 texts a day. It's like I need to set aside an hour and a half to 2 hours to literally go through all the footage sometimes. Or I mean, all the texts. It's crazy.
So what is some of the stuff you kind of do to decompress a bit? You talked earlier about Burning Man.
Yeah, I like going to music festivals a lot. I like EDM music. I've always liked EDM music since, I was in college. Or actually in high school. So I'll go to festivals. Like I'm going to Electric Forest, which is a festival next week. I go to Burning Man. I'm going this year, and that shit's crazy out there. Like I got like a cease and desist from Burning Man. And for those that don't know, like Burning Man is like, it's like I don't know.
I thought there was like no rules at Burning Man.
Yeah, so it's really cool, but basically it's not a festival. Like there's no lineup. Basically, it's like 80,000 people come to the middle of nowhere in the Black Rock Desert of northern Nevada. And it's set there because it's the most like inhospitable place on the planet, basically. So they do that on purpose. Yeah. So you go out there and there is structure to it. Like people think that it's just random people all around. Like you have to get approved. You have to get a ticket, and they have night. I tried to sneak in the year before. They have night vision people, like federal agents. It's like federal land. So if you try to sneak in, they have heat sensors, and they will get you. They got like, it's not a rumor because it's happened to me. So they'll get you, and basically you have to be approved for a camp. And the camps are anything you could even imagine, like literally anything you could think of, like little person wrestling, like 4 a.m. Be here at this time. Like,
did you participate? I'm joking. Daniel is 6'2", right?
6'1".
6'1". Oh my gosh.
Like,
don't a lot of people tell you look shorter, like online or something? I thought you did too.
Yeah, I don't know why. Someone just told me that yesterday.
I think I've been told that a couple times, but yeah, you walked in today and I was like, oh shit, I forget this guy's like taller than me.
People say that to me all the time. Yeah, I don't know. I used to be short. I was like 5'2" until I got my driver's license. I think it's just the vibe. I think tall guys are like not very happy. You're just like such a like hyped, happy person. I guess. Yeah.
But so you got a cease and desist from Burning Man.
Yeah. Basically, they sent me because they have a no logos thing. It's like no brands, no brand deals, which I respect. I just did a brand deal to get an RV. I needed an RV to go to Burning Man. So like I was like, We made it funny though. It was like a pseudo parody where basically we were like making fun of like the people that go to Burning Man while also going.
Like stereotypes, yeah.
People liked it at Burning. People that went thought it was funny, but they didn't like it because they didn't like the fact that we were at the end advertising the RV company. The RV company ended up getting a cease and desist. And I think if I show up this year, which I am, they might be like, talk with me or something.
You don't
They
think
don't
you're
like
banned?
that. I don't. They didn't ever contact me directly. They contacted the company I did it with and mentioned me in it. It's just crazy that they have that level of like, they're on it. So
Wait, can we talk about you getting caught with night vision goggles by a federal agent? Like, how do you just brush over that?
Well, this is a whole side thing, but basically it's just I need to tell two stories here. This is a really good story. So I've been screwed over a couple times in my life, but one time I got screwed over by this guy I met. I did a random "What do you do for a living?" video. Legit, rolled up to this guy that owns a boat in Miami, kind of like a yacht boat. I ask him what he does. He invites me on. We become friends. Every time I go back to Miami, I start going on this guy's boat. And he has this guy, David Roth is his name. He lives on the boat too. And I thought that he was just like a friend that was hanging out, but turns out he probably was like sleeping there because he like was a bum. I didn't know. Then he says he works for Ultra Music Festival and he's a big guy, plugged in the scene. So I'm like, okay, cool. Any chance you can get a Burning Man ticket for me? Randomly, I ask him. And he goes, oh yeah, I know the owners of Burning Man. Of course, I get 16 tickets a year. And I was like, great, this is awesome. So we get the RV, $10,000 or whatever to rent an RV because it gets destroyed. Everyone buys tickets. All my friends are just regular people that work 9 to 5s. They have to take work off. They spend like all their money, free money basically to do this. Show up to the front gates and this guy started being a little weird. He said that you have media passes. And I'm like, Burning Man doesn't really do media. And he's like, well, if you're going to be filming, you need it because it's no film policy. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. Show up to the front gates and they're like, we don't have you on any media list. And we're in the Black Rock Desert in the RV on site in front of Burning Man, right out front of the gates. And I'm calling this guy and he's like, oh no, they're screwing you over. He's acting like sporadic. Basically, long story short, this guy completely screws me over. So
Did he charge you for him?
Yeah, he owes me. Like we're going to arrest him. We're going to get him arrested. It's a whole side process.
Yeah.
With one of the lawyers we know. But basically this guy directly screwed us, go out to the Black Rock Desert. And we're like, screw it. So they let us stay in this lot next to the ticket sales because they were like, if you can figure it out by the morning, we'll be nice enough and we'll let you stay in this side lot. No, we don't let people do this. And they were very nice, but we still tried to get in because we were there. Our plan was to just kind of like sneak. It's a huge desert. It's like a massive, huge desert. So we're like, okay, there's no way that they can stop us from getting in. So we try to, on our bikes through a dust storm. It's complete sandstorm coverage. You can't even see in front of you. So we're like, okay, we have a compass and we can see lights in the distance in between the sandstorm. We're like, we're going to get there, party there, and then go back in the morning. Because obviously our RV's there. They would know if we try to get in. We're biking through this dust storm. And then randomly, out of nowhere, these federal agents roll up to us, these fish and game or whatever, national park people. And they were like, yeah, we got you guys on sensors, on our like radar sensors. And we didn't get arrested, which was nice. But we kind of were like, oh, we don't have wristbands. And they were like, yeah? Do you have a picture of your wristband? Do you have a picture inside the festival or the event? And we were like, no. And they're like, get the fuck out of here. And then they were like, we see you again, we're arresting you. So it didn't end up being too bad, but we tried to get in. And don't sneak into Burning Man because they have heat sensors.
That's insane.
Yeah.
Actually. Do you think TikTok's going to get banned?
I think it would take a long, long time and there'd be a long, drawn-out legal process for TikTok actually to get banned. So I think if it does happen, I don't think the Chinese will sell it to America. I think it's more of like we're not going to bend the knee to you and let America dictate with our apps what we can and can't have because it just opens up a whole can of worms.
They're going after CapCut too. Did you see that?
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
The adjacent editing company.
Yeah. So I think if TikTok, like America thinks that TikTok is that it's gonna divest into like Oracle or some other American company. I don't think it'll get to that spot. I think it's eventually just gonna kind of be forgotten and gonna be a bill that gets swept under the rug. It'll be like challenged maybe by the Supreme Court even, and I think they'll rule it as being unconstitutional or whatever. But I think before that process happens, there'll be like a lot of back and forth. So I think eventually, I don't think it'll be banned. If it does get to the point where they do have to sell it, I think China will not sell it and it will be banned. So it's not going to be divested. It's going to be a all or nothing. But it will be years before that happens. So
You
I'm
think
not
it'll be
worried about it.
years? Really?
Yeah, I think it's going to be like such a long, drawn out process. It's already about a year, I think, that they have to wait anyways. Because once you appeal it, which they just did, you have a full year to build up your case, basically. And then once that happens, I think some federal judge will probably pop in. And I think the Supreme Court will ultimately be the ones that yay or nay it. And it'll be a whole thing on freedom of, can you ban an individual app that people use because you don't like it? If it does happen, then we're in a lot of trouble, I think. Bigger fish to fry. Yeah.
Daniel, I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, but what's your dream car?
Ooh, that's a good one. Dream car. Okay. Lamborghini Countach is within reason. I love the look of it. It's a pain to drive.
Yeah.
As far as modern cars that aren't a pain to drive, De Tomaso P72. It's a very obscure car.
Let me check these out.
Yeah, that has the best lines ever, and it's really, really cool. It's the De Tomaso P72. Or I'll give you one third one.
Whew.
The Ferrari Daytona SP3. That is crazy cool, naturally aspirated V12. I think it's probably the best looking Ferrari ever made. So those are my three: Countach, De Tomaso P72, and the Ferrari.
How much do these cars go for?
Countach is about around 700,000 now. So that's what I'm saying. I'll give you a hierarchy here. So within reason that I would probably buy within the next couple of years, a McLaren 765 LT. That's like 450,000. Crazy cool. Next
You're
level.
gonna get a McLaren, Daniel?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they have some problems here and there, but I don't know. Next level would be a Lamborghini Countach, and that's probably 20 years from now, Daniel. Maybe 10 years. I wouldn't spend all
How
that
much
money.
money would you have to have in net worth to justify getting $1 million car?
That's interesting. To justify it, see, it's different. For me, it makes sense because I can make content with it, write it off, all that.
Yeah.
For the average Joe,
I'm shocked you don't have these cars right now, but
Yeah.
I'm pretty aggressive spender. for our
okay,
business.
I'm
Yeah.
a big investor boy. So even though it's funny,
I mean, you didn't have a supercar until a year ago?
yeah.
Yeah.
I was very cautious with my money because that's my background is invest your money, let it compound. It makes sense for me, obviously, and I love my car. But I think if you are the average millionaire, to get $1 million car and have it not be a stupid decision with my financy kind of input, I'd say you got to be worth 15 million.
Jesus Christ.
I wouldn't buy something that's 10% of your net worth.
Really?
No, not for a car. I'd say 15 million on the low end for it to not be a stupid decision.
Wow.
Now, if I can make content with it, for me,
Yeah.
it can make sense, but maybe 20 million. Yeah.
That's really interesting.
5%.
So that number would probably be 5 to 10, possibly?
Yeah, I think it depends on how well the car can hold its value. So I will say some of these cars, for example, I don't know, if you want to buy a Ferrari F40, they're going for 2-3 mil. Those are appreciating. They're one of the rare appreciating cars. McLaren Senna, for example, is $1 million, and a Ford GT is another good example. Those are all $1 million to $1.5 million cars, and they're not really going down. They might eventually go up. So it's not actually the worst decision. I think you could lower that. If you're a big car guy and you're worth $10 million and it's going to hold its value, For me, I'd probably need about... I probably wouldn't buy $1 million car unless I had $5 million for me.
Gotcha.
And I don't have that yet, so
Getting there.
maybe soon. Talk to me in 5 years.
Well,
3 years.
that leads into the perfect last question. Daniel, what is the future of this business, the content? What does it look like over the next 5, 10, 20 years down the line?
I think vertical is not going anywhere. I think we kind of saw the vertical gold rush happen with short form content in 2020. I think content is going to go back to being... So right now, TikTok is rewarding minute-long videos because they're seeing that people actually do want to sit down and watch a longer video. At the beginning, it was 5-second clips. It was like Vine. And now we're seeing the reversal of that, where TikTok is hey, we don't want you going to YouTube or Facebook or other Snapchat shows to sit down and actually enjoy content. We want to make media that people can actually enjoy over a long period of time and not keep swiping.
Yeah.
So I think we're going to see a reverse from what was originally long, then short vertical, and now long vertical. And you can already see TikTok's paying money for people to do that. So clearly on their back end, which I don't have access to, there's something valuable with long vertical content. So I think more long vertical content, which we're already seeing on Snap, Facebook and stuff like that, is going to be key. And I think that's a good spot to be in. So I prioritize vertical stuff. For me, I'm going to keep trying to pump out as many what do you do for a living videos as you can before people really don't care. It's still working, so I will keep doing it. It's kind of part of the brand. I'm venturing into other stuff. I have a car rally called the Legends Rally, which is awesome.
You think you'll have your own car?
My own car?
Yeah, like your own car brand?
Yeah, I think that's the most logical step. So like you have people like Doug DeMuro that did Cars and Bids, and he made $50 million from it. So that's an auction website. And I feel like that makes total sense for me to get into something that's automotive as the head of something like that. Like Supercar Blondie has a media organization, and she essentially posts other people's videos and is a media organization with 50 employees. So I feel like for me, once I kind of get my grounding here, I'm still new in the scene. I've only been doing this for not even 4 years, new by my standards. I think it'll make a lot more sense, and I'll do something automotive related. So yeah, or luxury related. But I feel like automotive makes the most sense. So car, something, door floor mat, something, who knows?
Well, what gets you excited these days? Like thinking about the future or just like in general?
Within content or just in general?
Just in general, yeah.
I think for me, I would love to do something in the more traditional media front. I think there's not a lot of shows out there that in the unscripted format that have like a relatability to them. So what we're trying to do, and we're actually working on it right now, is kind of finding some kind of a show that, is either niche jobs, like jobs that your mom wouldn't think make you a millionaire, OnlyFans, people that charge bird scooters at night, Airbnb rental empires. Like that's something that I kind of want to turn into a show. And I feel like the hosts for these shows are not relatable. They're just old 50-year-old men that are like, boring versus having like someone that's like more relatable and is actually like newer to the scene too. So I kind of want to dip my toe into maybe doing something like that. Maybe even like voice acting. I know you have experience with like doing stuff with your voice. I feel like I even though I don't like hearing it, people tell me I have like a more iconic kind of
It's a
voice.
unique voice for sure.
Yeah. So I don't know.
Rasp to it.
Voice. Yeah. Has that little, that rasp. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Unscripted TV, I feel like is the next step eventually once I kind of get tired of doing social media. A lot of people fail getting into that, but I think they do the wrong stuff and make it cringy. So
random idea for you. Just made me think of it. You ever done like something like a Jubilee lineup where people like guess what other people do for a living?
Oh, that'd be interesting.
Or like if you were the contestant and you guessed what you should pitch that to Jubilee.
No, I've never done that.
You have to guess what people do for a living.
That
or
is
you could do it based on the cars. So you have a bunch of cars lined up and then you have the owner next to it.
Okay.
You could do one where you match the people to the cars.
Yeah,
and then you could like guess like which one do for a living.
That would be interesting.
It's a really interesting thumbnail.
Because people do, I've done it before where I do what your car says about you. And it's kind of like, obviously it's not that exactly, but I've talked about the stereotypes within, I've done several million views. I've done it a couple times. Lamborghini owners, here's what they are like, or McLaren owners. That'd be cool. Yeah. Jubilee would be a good partner on that or something similar.
Yeah. They're pretty easy to produce. I've like seen. I was in one of these types of videos.
Oh, I saw one.
You saw that?
Yeah.
It was like attractive guy versus like unattractive guys or something like that. But they're pretty fun videos. I think you would do quite well at them, and I think it would lead you into that host format.
Yeah.
Whether you're the contestant or the host, just to
being a host would be fun.
I think you'd be a great host.
Yeah, like on a game show or like on a car related show. Yeah.
I feel like there's some car related game show that you could probably create.
Yeah. Win that car.
Yeah,
I'd love being a host. It'd be funny.
Yeah. That's cool.
So yeah, hopefully.
Well, Daniel, do you have anything else you'd like to talk about?
No, follow me. It's Daniel Mack, ITS Daniel Mack. I tell people it's Daniel Mack and they go, Daniel Mack. It's Daniel Mack.
It's Daniel Mack.
Yeah, it's Daniel Mack. Someone else has Daniel Mack, so.
Well, thank you for everyone for watching the Jack Neel Podcast. This has been your guest, Daniel McDonald. Have a good one.
Full name. I love it.